My name is Kate, and I live with my husband, Michael. We run a restaurant called Sunflower, which I inherited from my grandfather. He owned the restaurant for many years, and it was a favorite spot for the locals, even when he was battling cancer. My grandfather refused to rest. I can't just sit in a hospital, he would say. I belong in Sunflower, working until my last day. He kept cooking and serving with a smile, even as his health got worse. Sadly, one day, he passed away with our family by his side. Before he died, my grandfather left a detailed will naming me, his granddaughter, as the next owner of Sunflower. I decided to honor his wishes and continue his legacy. Thankfully, the regular customers stayed loyal, and the restaurant remained busy. The employees who worked with my grandfather also stayed on, which helped me feel confident in taking over. Since I had spent years learning his cooking style, I was able to prepare dishes that tasted just like his. Customers often said, "It feels like your grandfather is still here with us." Their support made me even more determined to succeed. But Michael wasn't happy about the arrangement. "Why should you inherit the restaurant? Shouldn't it go to me? A man should run the business," he said. I told him, "I'm the granddaughter. Besides, you're running it with me, so it doesn't matter." Michael wasn't convinced. He wanted to be the official owner, even though he couldn't cook. All he ever did was shop for ingredients, while I handled everything in the kitchen. "You can't own a restaurant if you can't even cook," I told him. I knew I was stubborn, but I wanted to respect my grandfather's wishes. He trusted me to carry on his work, and I wasn't about to let him down. Life at Sunflower was busy but fulfilling, until Michael's younger brother, Dave, showed up one day. "Hey, Michael, long time no see," Dave said as he strolled in. Dave had always been lazy and unreliable. He never kept a job for long and didn't take life seriously. Honestly, I didn't like him much. After quitting his latest job, he came back to town and decided to visit us. "So, Michael, did you inherit the restaurant?" Dave asked. "No, Kate did," Michael replied. "What, your wife? That's ridiculous. A woman running a restaurant?" Dave laughed, completely ignoring the customers glaring at him. Then he asked, "Since I'm family, can I eat for free?" "Sure," Michael said without hesitation. Dave ate a big meal, drank beer, and left without paying. I wasn't happy. Even family members pay when they eat here. "It's not fair to everyone else," I told Michael. "It's fine," Michael said. "Dave doesn't have any money. We should help him out." After that, Dave started coming to Sunflower all the time, eating and drinking for free. I kept telling Michael to make him pay, but he always made excuses. The more I pushed, the more annoyed Michael got. Eventually, we stopped talking to each other. Dave kept coming around, and the distance between Michael and me grew wider. The two of them would often go into the kitchen and whisper to each other. I acted like I didn't notice and focused on cooking and taking care of our customers. One day, while sneaking glances at me, Dave whispered to Michael, "Isn't there a way for you to take over this restaurant? My wife owns it," Michael replied. "But think about it, this place is in a great location, and it's always packed with customers. Why let her keep all the control and profit? It must be tough working under her, right?" Michael hesitated. "Well, yeah, it is," he muttered. Dave, clearly wanting a piece of the business, began scheming with Michael. My husband, already annoyed with me, eventually agreed to go along with his brother's plan. The next day, our restaurant was closed for a break. Michael left the house early, and I decided to use the day to clean up the restaurant. When I arrived, I noticed the door was already open. At first, I thought I might have forgotten to lock it the night before, but when I went inside, I saw Michael and Dave standing there. "Oh, you're here," Michael said, smirking. The door was open. I was surprised. I said, "What are you doing here on a closed day?" Both of them were grinning in a way that made me uneasy. "I need to tell you something," Michael said. "Ever since you inherited this restaurant, you've been acting all high and mighty, and I'm sick of it." "I'm not acting like that," I argued. "Yes, you are," Dave said, stepping in. "You think you're so great just because the restaurant is successful and making money." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. They were treating me like I had done something wrong by running the restaurant well. As I argued back, Michael suddenly pulled out a stack of papers and slammed them onto the table. "I've had enough of this. I can't stand your attitude anymore. Let's get a divorce," he said coldly. I looked down and saw they were already filled out divorce papers. I was completely stunned by Michael's sudden announcement. What is this all about? I asked, confused and upset. My thoughts immediately turned to the restaurant. I have employees, but running Sunflower on my own after a divorce will be hard. This is too much to take in all at once, I said, trying to make sense of it all. Michael didn't hesitate. We'll buy the restaurant from you, he said. I'll take over as the owner, and you can leave. I stared at him, unable to believe what I was hearing. It's such a waste, Dave added smugly. This place has a great location and so many customers. With your boring menu, we could do so much better. Exactly, Michael said. Sign the divorce papers and leave. We'll handle the restaurant from here. I couldn't even process what they were saying. This restaurant was my grandfather's legacy. It had been thriving for years and was beloved by our regular customers. You're not willing to make changes, Michael continued. If you keep things the same, this place will fail eventually. That's why I'll take over and do it right. They wouldn't listen to anything I said. It was clear that Michael had been completely influenced by Dave. Fine, I said, my voice calm. I'll sell you the restaurant for $500,000. Michael and Dave looked thrilled. Sure, Michael said confidently. I'll make that much money in no time. I couldn't stand their arrogance, but I kept my cool. Great, I said. Give me 2 weeks to prepare the divorce papers and the contract. Until then, don't come near the restaurant. Thinking they had won, the two agreed eagerly. They were so focused on their profits that they didn't even consider what I might be planning. Over the next 2 weeks, I continued running Sunflower as usual. One day, a regular customer asked, "Where's Michael? I haven't seen him lately." "We're getting a divorce," I said. The customer looked shocked. "Really? So what happens to the restaurant? Are you going to run it alone?" "No," I replied. "Michael is buying the restaurant from me, and I'll be leaving in 2 weeks." The news stunned them, but I quickly reassured them. "Don't worry," I said with a smile. "I've got good news." I handed them a flyer I had prepared, and they immediately looked relieved. 2 weeks later, I met with Michael and Dave. I gave them the contract to sell the restaurant and the completed divorce papers. "There," I said, "you've got everything you wanted, no more complaints." Michael didn't waste any time. He signed the contract and transferred the $500,000 to my account. "This is my restaurant now," he said, grinning. He and Dave celebrated while I quietly packed up my belongings and left. As I walked away, I couldn't help but wonder what they were going to do with Sunflower. Michael and Dave reopened the restaurant the next day, full of excitement. "I've already told the employees about the changes," Michael said. "Everything should run smoothly without Kate." "Perfect," Dave said. "Let's start making money." But when the doors opened at 10 a.m., something strange happened. "Where are the customers?" Michael asked, confused. Usually, the restaurant would be buzzing with people as soon as it opened, but no one came. Even the employees didn't show up. Michael tried calling them, but none of them answered. For the first time, the brothers started to panic. When Michael stepped outside, he saw one of our regular customers walking past. "Hey, aren't you one of our regulars?" he called out. The customer paused, looking uneasy. Yeah." Michael smiled, trying to act friendly. "Great. I was worried since you didn't come when we opened. Come on in." He gently pushed the customer toward the door. The customer walked inside reluctantly and looked at the menu. "What is this?" they asked, frowning. Michael had completely changed the menu after taking over. None of the original dishes from Sunflower were on it. Instead, it was filled with strange and unfamiliar items that didn't appeal to anyone. I guess I'll try the steak," the customer said finally, not sounding excited. "Good choice, coming right up," Michael said eagerly. He and Dave got to work cooking, but it was clear they didn't know what they were doing. The customer waited and waited, getting more annoyed with each passing minute. "What's taking so long?" they muttered after 40 minutes. Finally, Michael brought the dish to the table. The customer stared at it in shock. "What is this?" On the plate were 3 tiny, burnt pieces of meat. The inside was still raw. There was no sauce, no side dishes, just a small piece of bread and a bowl of watery soup. "The meat is high quality, so we only used salt and pepper for seasoning," Michael explained proudly. "It's cooked to let you enjoy its natural flavor and rareness." The customer didn't even pick up their fork. "I'm not eating this," they said, standing up. "Wait a minute," Michael shouted. "You still have to pay. That'll be $30. $30? For this?" You've got to be kidding me. The customer snapped and stormed out, furious. Michael and Dave stood there in stunned silence. As the days went by, no one came back to the restaurant, the employees quit one by one, and the business fell apart. Meanwhile, I had opened a new restaurant in a different location. I called it Sunflower Second. The employees from the original Sunflower joined me, and the regular customers followed because they loved my cooking. The new restaurant thrived. I kept my grandfather's original menu but added new dishes to attract younger people and families. Every day, I honored my grandfather's memory while building a bright future for myself. I was very busy, but it felt satisfying. Meanwhile, Michael and Dave were struggling. They had borrowed money to pay me the $500,000, and now they were getting constant reminders about their debt. What are we going to do about this? Michael asked, clearly stressed. You're the one who started this mess, Dave snapped back. You should figure it out. Dave had not expected things to go this way and was unsure what to do. Suddenly, he seemed to come up with an idea. I have a good plan. Without warning, Michael and Dave came to my new restaurant during the busy lunch rush to carry out Dave's good plan. Help us, Kate, Dave yelled loudly, not caring about the customers. Michael hurt his arm and can't cook anymore, Dave said. We'll return the restaurant to you, but can you give us back the money we paid for it? I stayed calm and replied, the original Sunflower is your restaurant now. You signed the contract. You need to be responsible and make it work. I didn't take them seriously and tried to get back to my work. Then, Michael walked in, looking like he was in pain. Kate, help me, he said, acting like it was a big emergency. I ignored him and tried to head back to the kitchen, but the customers started whispering. Wow, what happened to him? That looks really bad. Is he okay? Hearing them, I turned and looked at Michael, and I was shocked to see a large bruise on his arm. Wait, are you really hurt? I asked. Yes, he said dramatically. I've been telling you. Then go to the hospital right now, I said, feeling worried. I quickly called a cab and sent him to the hospital. Later, during my lunch break, I went to check on him at the hospital. I saw Michael leaving the building, like he had just finished a checkup. When I tried to ask him what had happened, he quickly turned away and ran off with Dave. Something didn't seem right, so I went to the hospital reception to ask. I think a man named Michael came in for an exam. I'm here to pick him up, I said. The receptionist looked confused and checked the records. Sorry, there's no record of a Michael here for a checkup. Maybe he went to another hospital, she said. I was suspicious. Michael had never seen a doctor, and the way they had run off made me feel like they were hiding something. I quickly got in my car and started driving around to look for them. A few minutes later, I saw Michael and Dave walking. I stopped my car, got out, and grabbed Michael's arm. I knew it, I said. I looked closely at his arm and saw that the bruise was gone. Michael and Dave tried to run, but I held on to his arm tightly. My angry look made them stop. Why is the bruise gone? You're not really hurt, are you? I demanded. Michael sighed. I didn't realize running a restaurant would be so hard. No customers are coming to the original Sunflower, so we're losing money. We can't even pay off the debt. I pretended to be injured to avoid working, hoping you'd give us the money back. Unbelievable, I said, shaking my head. You tried to trick me with such a silly lie? I let go of his arm and said coldly, from now on, stay out of my life. The restaurant is yours now. You deal with it. I got back in my car and drove away. As I looked at them in the rearview mirror, I felt disappointed. Eventually, Michael and Dave put Sunflower up for sale to pay off their debts, but since the building was old, they struggled to find a buyer. They worked day and night, getting constant reminders about their unpaid debts. They deserved this because they had been selfish and greedy, focusing on quick money instead of what truly mattered. Meanwhile, my new restaurant kept thriving, and my profits doubled. A loyal customer offered to be trained by me, so I now have an apprentice. I teach them the importance of hard work and humility, ensuring they don't become selfish and greedy like Michael. I continue to work hard every day to keep my grandfather's legacy alive. I'm determined to make sure Sunflower Second lasts for many years to come.
The autumn light filters through bare branches, casting skeletal shadows across my father's casket. I focus on these shifting patterns, anything to avoid looking at my mother's face, as she grips the arm of a girl I've never seen before. a girl who can't be more than 24, wearing a black dress that still has the fresh pressed creases of a recent purchase. My throat burns with unshed tears. Dad always said I was just like him, better at swallowing pain than showing it. Now his silence is permanent, and mine feels like it might choke me. Zariah, my mother's voice cuts through the minister's droning. Come meet your sister. Sister. The word hits me like a physical blow. I'm an only child. Was an only child. The girl beside my mother shifts uncomfortably, her eyes downcast. This is Serena, my mother continues, her voice carrying that artificial sweetness that always meant trouble when I was growing up. Your father and I have been meaning to tell you about her for some time. The minister pauses his eulogy, clearly sensing the tension crackling through our small gathering. My childhood friend Michelle squeezes my hand, but I barely feel it. Everything has gone numb except the pounding in my chest. What are you talking about? My voice comes out hoarse, unfamiliar. Perhaps this isn't the best time, the family lawyer, Harrison, interjects. He's been hovering at the edges of our group, clutching his briefcase like a shield. No, this is exactly the right time, my mother says. Miguel would have wanted everything out in the open. I want to scream that she doesn't get to speak for him anymore. That 28 years of being his daughter gives me more right to know what he would have wanted. But the words stick in my throat as Harrison steps forward, pulling papers from his briefcase. Your father made some adjustments to his will in the final months, he explains, not quite meeting my eyes. He legally recognized Serena as his daughter and adjusted the inheritance accordingly. The ground seems to tilt beneath my feet. Michelle's grip tightens, keeping me anchored. What adjustments? I manage to ask. The estate will be divided between your mother and Serena, Harrison says quietly. He felt they needed the security more. A hollow laugh escapes me. Security? I'm being erased. No one's erasing you, dear. My mother's tone is placating, but her eyes are hard. Your father simply wanted to make things right with Serena. You've always been so independent, so capable. The girl, Serena, finally looks up at me. There's something in her expression I can't quite read. Guilt, fear, whatever it is, it makes my skin crawl. Did you know about this? I ask her directly. Before today? She opens her mouth to respond, but my mother answers for her. Serena has been through enough. This isn't the time for interrogations. I look down at my father's casket, polished wood reflecting the weak sunlight. Dad and I had our Sunday calls every week, even after I moved across the city. He never mentioned Serena, never hinted at any of this, but there had been something different in his voice these past few months. A hesitation when I asked about Mom. A heaviness in his silences. The minister clears his throat, clearly eager to continue the service. But as everyone's attention shifts back to him, I catch something from the corner of my eye. Serena slipping something into her pocket. Something that glints like metal. My father's watch. The one he always said would be mine someday. The numbness inside me cracks, letting in a flood of white-hot rage. But before I can speak, before I can move, I feel it. The faintest brush against my arm, like fingertips I've known all my life. A presence so familiar it stops my breath. For just a moment, I swear I can smell Dad's aftershave, hear the echo of his laugh. And underneath it all, a certainty blooms. He's trying to tell me something. Something hidden in those strange, heavy silences of our final conversations. The minister's words wash over me, meaningless now. My mother stands triumphant beside her new daughter, but I barely see them. My eyes are fixed on the casket, on the last physical reminder of the man who raised me. The man who taught me that silence often holds the deepest truths. I will find out what really happened in those final months. What turned my father's love into disinheritance? What secrets lie beneath this performance of grief and family, even if it means burning everything to the ground? The box of photos sits heavy in my lap, each one a knife twisting deeper. Dad and me at my college graduation, teaching me to drive, building that ridiculous treehouse that nearly killed us both. His smile never changes. Warm, steady, real. Nothing like the tight grimace I'd seen in our last few video calls. I'm sitting cross-legged on his study floor, surrounded by the remnants of his life. Mom's already talking about clearing things out, but I convinced her to give me today. Just today, to say goodbye to this room that smells like leather and old books and him. My fingers brush something sharp beneath a stack of papers. A leather-bound journal I've never seen before, its spine cracked with use. My heart stutters as I open it, recognizing Dad's precise handwriting. "What are you doing in here?" I slam the journal shut, shoving it behind me as my mother appears in the doorway. She's changed out of her funeral clothes into one of her designer suits, perfectly put together as always. "Just looking through some memories," I say, holding up a photo. "Remember this camping trip?" She barely glances at it. "Serena's moving into your old room next week. I need this space cleared by then." The casual cruelty of it steals my breath. "My room? You're giving her my room?" It's not your room anymore, Zariah. You haven't lived here in years." She steps closer, surveying the mess I've made. "And you're making this harder than it needs to be. Your father made his choices." "Did he?" I stand up, the journal pressing against my back. Because the father I knew wouldn't just replace me without a reason. Something flickers across her face. Fear? But it's gone so fast I might have imagined it. "People change," she says. "Even parents. Even the ones we think we know completely." "Not like this." I grab another photo, thrust it at her. "Look at him here. Look at how he was with me. Tell me that was a lie." She pushes the photo away. "You always did idolize him too much. Made him into something he wasn't." "The only person making him into something he wasn't is you." The words burn coming out, but I can't stop. "What did you do to him? What did you and Serena—" "Oh, enough!" Her voice cracks like a whip. "I've been patient with your accusations because you're grieving. But if you can't accept reality, maybe you should leave." "Fine." I gather the photos, sliding the journal into my bag while her back is turned. "But this isn't over." "It is over, Zariah. The will is clear. The decisions are made." She blocks the doorway, her expression softening into something almost pitying. "Let it go. Move on. That's what your father would want." "No?" The certainty in my voice surprises us both. "That's what you want, and you don't get to speak for him anymore." I push past her, photos clutched to my chest. But at the stairs, I pause. "You know what's strange? Dad called me every Sunday for years. Never missed once. Except for the last 3 months. That's when everything changed, wasn't it?" She doesn't answer, but her silence says enough. Back in my apartment, I curl up in my reading chair. The one Dad helped me pick out when I first moved in. The journal sits unopened in my lap, heavy with possibilities. Part of me wants to call Michelle, let her steady presence ground me before I dive in. But this feels private, sacred. The first few pages are ordinary enough. Appointments, random thoughts, grocery lists. But then the tone changes. The handwriting gets tighter, more urgent. "Something's wrong," he wrote. "The numbers don't add up. Karen's hiding something, but when I ask, she—" The entry ends abruptly. I flip through more pages, heart pounding as his notes become more cryptic. References to bank accounts I've never heard of. A series of dates and locations. And on the last page, a roughly drawn map with an X marked in red ink. Something falls from between the pages, a small scrap of paper with an address I don't recognize. Below it, in Dad's handwriting, "The truth is here. Be careful who you trust." My hands shake as I read the words again. All those silent moments in our final calls. He was trying to tell me something, leading me here. I grab my phone, pull up the address on my map app. It's on the other side of the city, in an area I've never visited. Every instinct says to wait, to think this through. But Dad's words echo in my head. Be careful who you trust. Right now, the only person I trust is him. I grab my keys, the journal secure in my bag. Whatever truth Dad wanted me to find, whatever he was afraid to say out loud, I'm going to find it. Tonight. The journal sits open on my steering wheel, its pages ghostly blue in the dashboard lights. I've been parked outside this abandoned strip mall for 20 minutes, trying to match Dad's crude map to the reality in front of me. The empty storefronts stare back like dead eyes, their windows papered over with ancient "for lease" signs. My phone buzzes. Terrence. I've been ignoring his calls since the funeral, but something makes me answer this time. "Where are you?" His voice is tight with worry. "Michelle said you weren't answering texts." "I'm fine." The lie tastes bitter. "Just needed some space." "At midnight? In the industrial district?" There's a pause. "I can see your location, Z. You shared it with me last year, remember?" I close my eyes, cursing my past self's safety precautions. "I'm handling something." "Let me help." The gentleness in his voice nearly breaks me. "Whatever it is, you don't have to do it alone." The words catch in my throat. Terrence has been my rock since college, the one person who's seen me at my worst and stayed anyway. But this feels different. Dangerous, maybe. "Can you—" I swallow hard. "Can you just stay on the phone while I check something?" "I'm already getting in my car." "No, don't." But he's hung up. I grab my flashlight and Dad's journal, scanning the area one more time. According to the map, there should be something behind the old pharmacy. My shoes crunch on broken glass as I pick my way through the empty parking lot. The back of the building is worse. Graffiti-covered walls, overflowing dumpsters. But there, half hidden behind a rusted air conditioning unit, is a door with a familiar symbol scratched into its frame. The same symbol from Dad's map. My hands shake as I trace the marking. What was he doing in a place like this? A noise behind me makes me spin, heart in my throat. But it's just a cat darting between shadows. Still, the fear jolts me into action. I pull out the key I found tucked into the journal's binding and slide it into the lock. It fits. Inside, the darkness is absolute. My flashlight beam reveals shelves of old files, dusty furniture. The air smells of mold and secrets. "What the hell are you doing here?" I whirl around, nearly dropping the flashlight. Serena stands in the doorway, her face pale in the reflected light. "I could ask you the same thing." My voice sounds steadier than I feel. She steps inside, closing the door behind her. "You found his journal." Not a question. My grip tightens on the flashlight. "How did you know about it?" "Because he showed it to me." She moves closer, and I see tears in her eyes. "The day before he died, he made me promise to help you find it." "Liar!" The word comes out as a snarl. "You're not his daughter. You're just part of whatever scheme." "You're right." Her voice cracks. "I'm not his daughter. I'm his witness." Before I can process this, headlights sweep across the windows. Car doors slam outside. "They followed me," Serena whispers. "I'm sorry, I tried to lose them, but—" "Who followed you?" "Your mother's lawyers. The ones who helped her." She grabs my arm. "We need to go. Now." "I'm not going anywhere with you." But even as I say it, I hear voices approaching. "Zariah, please." Her fingers dig into my arm. "I know where there's another exit. I know what your father was trying to protect. But we have to move." The voices are right outside now. I think of Dad's warning. Be careful who you trust. But something in Serena's fear feels genuine. Raw. "Fine." I shove the journal into my bag. "But if this is a trick—" "It's not." She pulls me toward the back of the room. "Your father saved my life. Now I'm trying to save yours." A pounding on the front door makes us both jump. I hear a key in the lock. "This way!" Serena yanks open a hidden panel in the wall, some kind of maintenance access. As we slip through, my phone buzzes. Terrence. "Almost there. Where exactly are you?" I type back quickly. "Had to run. I'm safe. Trust me." "But am I?" I'm following my replacement through a dark tunnel, running from my mother's lawyers, chasing my dead father's secrets. The panel clicks shut behind us, plunging us into darkness broken only by our flashlight beams. Ahead, Serena moves with the certainty of someone who's been here before. "Start talking." I tell her as we hurry through the passage. Tell me everything. Not here. Her voice echoes softly. But I will. Your father left something else for you. Something that will explain everything. Behind us, I hear the front door open. Voices call my name. We run faster, deeper into the dark, toward whatever truth Dad died protecting. The wind whips across the abandoned parking garage, carrying the scent of rain. Serena leads me to a concrete pillar marked with the same symbol from the storage room. My flashlight beam catches her hands shaking as she counts the panels above it. Here! She presses against one section, and something clicks. A small door swings open, revealing a wall safe. He installed it himself. Said no one would think to look in a place like this. My father, the straight-laced accountant, hiding safes in abandoned buildings. The world keeps tilting sideways. The combination? I ask. He said you'd know it? Serena steps back, wrapping her arms around herself. Something about your mother's garden? The memory hits like a punch to the gut. Mom's prized roses, the ones Dad helped me count every spring. 23 red, 16 white, 9 yellow. The same numbers for 15 years, until she tore them out 3 months ago to put in a meditation pond. My fingers move on autopilot. 23, 16, EZ09. The safe clicks open. Inside lies a thick manila envelope and a handwritten note in Dad's familiar script. For Zariah, the truth costs. Make sure you're ready to pay. We should hurry, Serena whispers. They'll figure out where we went eventually. I pull out the envelope, but something else catches my eye. A small velvet box. Inside is Dad's class ring, the one he never took off. My throat closes up. He wasn't sick, was he? The question comes out raw. Serena's silence is answer enough. The envelope contains documents, bank statements, emails, photographs. My hands tremble as I scan them under the flashlight. Numbers jump out at me, transactions that make no sense. Mom's signature appearing on papers dated when she was supposedly at her yoga retreat. And photos of her meeting with men in suits, looking nothing like the grieving widow she's playing now. She was embezzling, I breathe. From Dad's company? From everyone. Serena's voice is bitter. I was her assistant at the investment firm. That's how I found out. She was running a scheme across multiple companies, using your father's reputation as cover. And you what? Decided to blackmail her? No. Serena steps forward, then catches herself. I went to your father. He was already suspicious, but he needed proof. We worked together, gathering evidence. He was going to expose everything, but then a car engine echoes through the garage. We both freeze. He changed the will to protect you, Serena continues quickly. Your mother threatened to drag you into it if he went public. Said she'd make it look like you were involved. The documents blur in my shaking hands. So he cut me off, made it look like we were estranged. To give you deniability. He was going to tell you everything that Sunday, but... She swallows hard. Thursday night, he called me, saying he'd found something big. Friday morning, he was dead. Heart attack, I say numbly. That's what they told me. Your mother's very good at making things look natural. Footsteps now, echoing up the stairwell. Multiple sets. I shove everything back into the envelope, except the ring, which I slip onto my thumb. We need to... Zariah! Terrence's voice rings out, making us both jump. Are you up here? Relief floods through me, followed immediately by fear. You need to hide, I tell Serena. You trust him? With my life. The certainty in my voice surprises even me. She nods once and slips behind a concrete barrier, just as Terrence appears, looking worried and slightly out of breath. Jesus, Z, what are you doing up here? Michelle's freaking out. Your mom's lawyers are looking for you. I know why Dad died. The words tumble out. I know what Mom did. His expression shifts from concern to something harder. Show me. I hand him the envelope. Watch his face as he scans the contents under his phone light. See the moment understanding hits. We need to take this to the police, he says. Not yet. I think of Dad's warning about the cost of truth. Mom has connections. We need more proof. Something she can't bury. We? His eyes search mine. I can't ask you to risk. Stop. He grips my shoulders. I'm with you, whatever you need, but no more running off alone, okay? Behind him, Serena emerges from her hiding spot. Terrence tenses, but I shake my head. She's with us, I tell him. She was helping Dad. Thunder rumbles overhead as Terrence absorbs this. Finally, he nods. Your place isn't safe. You can both crash at mine while we figure out next steps. There's one more thing we need to check first. Serena pulls out her phone, showing us an email. Your father's last message to me, about a hidden account in the Caymans. I stare at the screen, at the trail of breadcrumbs Dad left behind. Mom's going to notice we took the documents. Good. The word comes out like a promise. Let her worry. Rain begins to fall as we hurry toward Terrence's car, the envelope secure against my chest. Dad's ring feels warm against my skin, like a pulse, like a purpose. Let her worry. Let her wonder what else he left behind. The game is changing, and she doesn't even know we're playing yet. Terrence's apartment feels like a war room at 3 a.m. Papers cover every surface, laptop screens glow with financial records, and empty coffee cups litter the floor. I've been staring at the same email chain for an hour, trying to make sense of the transactions hidden in Dad's careful notes. Look at this. Serena points to her screen. Every Thursday for 6 months, exactly $50,000 transferred to an account in Grand Cayman, but the company records show different amounts. She was skimming. Terrence rubs his eyes. Creating fake vendor payments and pocketing the difference. Not just skimming. I hold up one of Dad's documents. She was falsifying entire client portfolios. People lost everything while she... My phone buzzes. Mom's name on the screen makes my stomach lurch. Answer it, Serena says. She'll get suspicious if you don't. I put the phone on speaker. Hello? Where are my documents, Soraya? Her voice is deadly calm. What documents? Don't play games. The storage unit was accessed last night. Files are missing. A pause. Did your new friend Serena help you break in? My eyes meet Serena's across the room. She's gone pale. I don't know what you're talking about, I say carefully. Really? Then why did building security catch you on camera? Both of you. She sighs. I'm trying to protect you, sweetheart. You have no idea what you're getting into. Like you protected Dad? The silence stretches so long, I think she's hung up. Then, come home. Bring everything back. We can discuss this like family. Family? I laugh, and it sounds like breaking glass. You threatened to frame me for your crimes. You drove Dad to... Your father made his choices. Her voice hardens. Just like you're making yours. But remember, I still have friends at the SEC. One phone call, and your name gets added to their investigation. The line goes dead. She's bluffing, Terrence says quickly. She can't really... Yes, she can. Serena slumps against the wall. I've seen her do it before. Why do you think no one else came forward? My hands won't stop shaking. I grab Dad's ring, twisting it around my thumb. We need to move faster. I turn back to the laptop. Dad's last email mentioned another account. Something about a safety deposit box? Soraya. Terrence's voice is gentle. Maybe we should take this to the authorities. Let them... No! The word comes out sharp. You heard her. She's got people everywhere. We need something concrete, something she can't twist. My phone buzzes again. A text from Michelle. Your mom just called me. She's worried about you. What's going on? She's starting to isolate you, Serena says, reading over my shoulder. Turn people against you. It's what she does. I think of Michelle, my oldest friend. The thought of losing her trust makes my chest ache. I need air. I grab my jacket, heading for Terrence's balcony. The city spreads out below, a maze of lights and shadows. Somewhere out there, Mom is making calls, pulling strings, trying to erase me just like she erased Dad. The balcony door slides open. Terrence steps out, wrapping a blanket around my shoulders. Talk to me, he says quietly. What if we're wrong? The fear I've been fighting finally breaks through. What if Dad was confused or... Hey! He turns me to face him. You saw the evidence. Trust your instincts. My instincts are screaming to run, to let it go before I swallow hard. She's going to destroy everything I have left. Not everything. His hand finds mine, warm and steady. Some things can't be taken away. The moment stretches, charged with something new, something that makes my heart race for reasons that have nothing to do with fear. A crash from inside breaks the spell. We rush back in to find Serena standing over a shattered mug, staring at her phone. What's wrong? Your mother's lawyers just filed emergency papers. Her voice shakes. They're moving to seize your father's safety deposit box. First thing tomorrow morning. Where is it? I demand. Downtown First National. She looks up, eyes wide. We have 8 hours before they get it. Terrence grabs his keys. I know a back entrance to the bank. Security's lighter before opening. We can't break in, I protest. But my mind is already racing ahead. We don't have to. Serena pulls out another document. Your father added you as a co-signer last month. It's still valid. I stare at Dad's signature, feeling the weight of his ring. One last gift, one last chance. Okay. I grab my coat. Let's go get our proof before Mom makes it disappear too. Dawn is still hours away as we head into the night, racing against time, and the woman who thinks she's already won. The bank's early morning silence feels like a held breath. I grip Dad's safety deposit box key, watching the manager verify my ID with agonizing slowness. Beside me, Terrence pretends to read a pamphlet about mortgage rates. Serena waits in the car, keeping watch. Everything seems in order, Miss Fletcher. The manager's smile is professional, empty. Though I should mention, we received an unusual call about this box. My heart stutters. Oh? From your mother. She expressed concerns about your emotional state, given your recent loss. Of course she did. I force my face to stay neutral, channeling Mom's own practiced calm. I appreciate her concern, but as you can see, I'm a legal co-signer. He hesitates, then nods. Follow me, please. The vault door opens with a heavy clang. As we follow him down the narrow aisle of boxes, my phone vibrates. Michelle. I just talked to your mom. Her text reads. She's really worried. Says you're having some kind of breakdown. Please call me. I switch the phone off, hands shaking. The manager stops at our box, inserting his key. Mine slides in beside it, and the lock turns with a final feeling click. I'll give you some privacy, he says, stepping away. The metal box feels too light as I lift it. Inside lies a single USB drive and an envelope addressed to me in Dad's handwriting. No turning back now. Zariah! Terrence's voice is urgent. We need to go. Through the vault's glass wall, I see Serena rushing into the bank lobby. Behind her, 2 familiar figures in suits, Mom's lawyers. Back exit, Terrence whispers. Now! We slip out through the employee entrance, just as I hear the manager's voice. Ms. Perry, your mother's here? The morning air hits like a slap. We run for Terrence's car, parked in the alley. Serena's already inside, engine running. How did they know? I gasp as we peel away from the curb. Someone must have tipped them off. Serena's knuckles are white on the steering wheel. The bank manager maybe, or Michelle. The realization hits like ice water. She told Mom where I was going. She thinks she's helping. My oldest friend turned into a weapon against me. The betrayal burns worse than I expected. We need somewhere safe to check what's on that drive. Terrence glances in the rearview mirror. My place might be watched now. I know somewhere. Serena takes a sharp turn. But you're not going to like it. 20 minutes later, we pull up to a motel that's seen better decades. A man leans against the wall outside, smoking. When he sees Serena, he straightens up. That's Marcus, she says quietly. He worked in accounting with your dad. He's been helping me gather evidence. I study him through the windshield. Mid-50s, tired eyes, cheap suit. Can we trust him? Your father did. She meets my gaze. He's the one who first noticed the missing money. Your mother tried to buy his silence, but Miguel was my friend, Marcus says, opening my door. His voice is rough with emotion. What she did to him, what she's still doing. It needs to stop. Inside his room, Marcus pulls out a laptop while I insert the USB drive. Documents flood the screen, transaction records, emails, photos. But one video file catches my eye. Watch first. Dad's face fills the screen, recorded in his study. He looks exhausted, afraid. Zariah, if you're seeing this, I'm already gone. What I'm about to tell you. I'm so sorry, sweetheart. I tried to protect you, but I only made things worse. Tears blur my vision as he explains everything. How he discovered Mom's scheme, how deep the corruption went, how many lives she'd destroyed, how she threatened to implicate me if he went public. But I found something, he continues. Proof she can't hide from. It's all here, including... The video cuts off suddenly. That was the night before he died, Marcus says softly. He called me right after recording this, said he needed to move everything to the safety deposit box. Said your mother was acting strange. My phone buzzes again, an unknown number this time. The text makes my blood freeze. Such a shame about Michelle's new job offer. Would be terrible if something derailed it. Bring back what you took. 1 hour, you know where. She's going after Michelle's career now. My voice sounds distant, strange. She'll destroy everyone I care about, one by one. Then we end this. Terrence grips my shoulder. Today, I look around at these people. Serena with her haunted eyes, Marcus with his quiet grief, Terrence with his unwavering support, all brought together by Mom's poison, by Dad's final acts of resistance. Yes, I say, Dad's ring heavy on my thumb. Today, I text back one word. Where? The response comes immediately. The house. Come alone. Fine. She wants to face me in the home she's turned into a battlefield? Perfect. Time to show her exactly what kind of daughter she raised. The front door still opens with my old key. Inside, the house smells wrong, like artificial flowers trying to cover something rotten. Late afternoon sun streams through the windows, casting long shadows across the floor where Dad's favorite rug used to be. Mom stands in the living room, dressed for battle in crisp black and pearls. Serena's desk is conspicuously empty, all traces of her presence already erased. I knew you'd come alone. Mom's smile is razor thin. You always were your father's daughter. So predictably noble. Where are your lawyers? I ask, gripping my bag with the USB drive inside. On their way, along with some SEC investigators who are very interested in your recent activities. She gestures to the couch. Sit. Let's talk about how we can fix this mess you've made. I remain standing. Like you fixed things with Dad? Something flickers in her eyes. Your father made his choice. You mean when he chose to expose your fraud? Or when he chose to protect me from it? Protect you? She laughs, the sound like breaking glass. He abandoned you, left you with nothing. He left me everything I needed. I pull out my phone, press play on the recording app. Her words echo back. Your father made his choice. She goes very still. You've been recording? Since I walked in, just like Dad did that last night, right before you slipped something into his evening scotch. The color drains from her face. You can't prove that. The toxicology report can. The one Marcus helped me get this morning. The real one, not the sanitized version you paid for. My voice shakes, but my hands are steady. Did you watch him die, Mom? Did you sit there while his heart gave out? You have no idea what it takes to build something. Her mask cracks, showing something ugly beneath. To protect it, he would have destroyed everything. He was trying to save people, the families you stole from, the lives you ruined. I built this life. She steps forward, pearls gleaming like teeth. Everything we had, the house, your education, all of it, came from my work, my sacrifices. Your lies. The words taste like acid. Your murders. Prove it. Her smile returns, cold and confident. You really think anyone will believe you over me? The grieving widow against the unstable daughter? The front door opens. Heavy footsteps approach. Actually, Terrence's voice rings out, They'll believe all of us. Mom turns. Terrence enters, followed by Serena, Marcus, and two people in FBI windbreakers. Agent Torres? One introduces herself, holding up a badge. We've been building a case against your investment firm for months. But Mr. Marcus's evidence about Miguel Fletcher's death? That's new. You really should sweep for bugs more often, Serena says quietly. The SEC might be in your pocket, but the FBI? They've been listening to every word. Mom's composure shatters. She lunges for my bag, but I'm faster. Years of martial arts classes she insisted on finally paying off. We grapple, her nails raking my arm. Something cracks against my jaw, and I taste blood. Karen Perry, Agent Torres barks. Step away from your daughter. But Mom's fingers find my throat, squeezing. In her eyes, I see something I never understood before. She'd rather kill me than lose control. I drive my knee up, breaking her grip. She staggers back, colliding with Dad's antique clock. It topples, shattering against the hardwood. The agents move in, but Mom's already reaching into her jacket. Metal glints. A small pistol. Mom, don't! The gunshot is deafening, but it's Mom who crumples, the bullet hitting her shoulder. Behind her, Terrence stands with his off-duty weapon raised, face grim. You okay? He asks me as the agents secure Mom. I nod, unable to speak, watching them read her rights. She looks smaller somehow, clutching her bleeding shoulder, all her careful polish stripped away. He never stopped loving you, I tell her as they lead her past. Even at the end. That's why it was so easy for you to kill him. She stops, turns. For a moment, I see something like regret in her eyes. Then it's gone, replaced by the cold emptiness I never recognized as a child. Love is weakness, she says. I taught you better than that. No. I touch Dad's ring, feel its steady weight. You taught me exactly what not to become. They take her away, leaving me in the wreckage of the home that was never really mine. Terrence's hand finds my shoulder. Serena and Marcus hover nearby, witnesses to the end of something that broke long before today. Outside, red and blue lights paint the gathering darkness. Neighbors peer from behind curtains, watching Mom's carefully constructed world collapse. I step out onto the porch where Dad used to read, where he taught me about stars and silence and strength. The evening air tastes like freedom and grief and possibility. Behind me, the house holds only ghosts now. Ahead lies something new, something entirely my own. I'm ready to build it. Dawn creeps through the study windows as I pack the last of Dad's books. The house feels different now. Not lighter exactly, but cleaner somehow, like after a storm. Each box I seal contains another piece of the life I thought I knew, transformed into something new. The doorbell rings. Michelle stands on the porch, shifting nervously. I brought coffee, she says, holding up a familiar cardboard tray. And I owe you about 1,000 apologies. I take one of the cups, remembering countless mornings sharing secrets over this same ritual. You didn't know. I should have. Her voice cracks. I've known you since we were 6, known your mom even longer. How did I miss what she really was? She fooled everyone. I lead her into the study, where morning light catches dust motes dancing above half-packed boxes. Even Dad, until the end. Michelle picks up a framed photo. All of us at my college graduation. I saw the news, about the other families she stole from. The restitution hearings start next week? I nod. Serena and Marcus are testifying. We found enough evidence to help most of the victims recover their losses. And you? She meets my eyes. What happens to you now? Before I can answer, footsteps creak overhead. Terrence appears in the doorway, sleeves rolled up, ready for another day of packing. Michelle's eyebrows rise. So that's new? Not exactly. I feel my cheeks warm. He's been here all along. I just wasn't ready to see it. A knock at the front door interrupts whatever Michelle's about to say. Harrison, the family lawyer, enters carrying a thick envelope. The final paperwork, he says, looking uncomfortable. And this was in your mother's personal safe. She instructed me to deliver it if, well, he hands me a smaller envelope. Inside is a single key and a note in Mom's precise handwriting. For when you're ready to understand. What does that mean? Michelle asks. It means she's still playing games. I move to throw the key away, but something stops me. Or maybe... The key's shape is familiar, like the one Dad left in his journal, leading to truth. The lake house, I breathe. Dad's old writing retreat. She always hated that place. Want company? Terrence asks quietly. I shake my head. This one I need to do alone. The drive north feels shorter than I remember. The lake house sits unchanged, a small cabin overlooking steel gray water. The key turns smoothly in the lock. Inside, everything is exactly as Dad left it. His reading chair, his half-finished crossword. But on the desk lies something new. A leather journal identical to his. Mom's handwriting fills the pages. Not the controlled script I know, but jagged, desperate words. Miguel knows. He found the transfers. Thinks we can fix this legally, make it right. Doesn't understand what they'll do to us if the truth comes out. To Zariah. I built this life from nothing, carved it from the world that tried to break me. I won't let them take it, not even him. Better a clean end than a slow destruction. Better she hate me than watch them destroy her too. My daughter, my mirror. Stronger than I ever was. The words blur as tears fall. Not forgiveness, never that. But understanding maybe. The smallest shard of truth behind her armor of lies. My phone buzzes. A text from Serena. Found something else in the records. When you're ready. Always more secrets. Always more truth waiting to be uncovered. But right now, the lake stretches out before me, sunlight dancing on its surface. I think of Dad in his reading chair, finding peace in this simple place. Of Mom's hidden words, revealing the broken pieces that made her who she was. Of the family I'm building now. Terrence's steady strength, Michelle's renewed loyalty, Serena's fierce determination, Marcus's quiet wisdom. I slip Dad's ring off my thumb and place it on the desk beside Mom's journal. Some inheritances we carry forward, others we leave behind. Outside, wind ripples across the water. I stand on the deck where Dad taught me constellations, where Mom refused to vacation, where my own story stretches out before me, unwritten, unmarked, entirely mine. The future tastes like possibility, like freedom, like truth.
The name tag in my hands reads, Juliet Lucas, sister of the bride, the failure. I stare at those last two words written in my mother's perfect cursive, probably meant as a joke. Probably. The wedding reception swirls around me in shades of champagne and ivory, a perfect Pinterest board come to life. My sister Camilla's doing, of course. She's currently floating through the crowd in her designer gown, collecting compliments like butterflies in a net. I down my second glass of wine and try to remember why I agreed to be part of this circus. Jules! Camilla's voice cuts through the ambient chatter. Come meet Leo's work friends. I paste on my best supportive sister smile and wade through the sea of pastels and pearls. More introductions. More explaining that yes, I'm an artist, and no, I don't have a real job. More sympathetic nods when they learn I teach art to elementary school kids to pay rent. Leonardo, my new brother-in-law, wraps his arm around Camilla's waist. He's objectively handsome in that investment banker way, all sharp angles and whiter than white teeth. Jules here is our family's free spirit, he says, and everyone laughs like it's the cleverest thing they've heard all day. I excuse myself to the bathroom, needing a moment to breathe. The corridor leading to the restrooms is blessedly quiet, the music from the reception hall now just a dull thrum. That's when I spot Leonardo's phone on the decorative table outside the men's room, screen lighting up with incoming messages. I shouldn't look. I really shouldn't. But something about the preview text makes my stomach clench. I glance around, empty hallway, and pick up the phone. The messages are from someone named RW. Miss you already. Last night was incredible. Can't wait until your business trip next week. Remember to delete these messages. My hands start shaking. The timestamp shows these were sent during the ceremony, during my sister's wedding ceremony. More messages pop up, each one worse than the last. Photos I wish I could unsee. Plans for future meetups. This isn't a one-time thing, this is an ongoing affair. The bathroom door creaks. I quickly place the phone back, hands trembling so badly I nearly drop it. Leonardo emerges, adjusting his bow tie in the hallway mirror. "Oh, hey, Jules," he says, reaching for his phone. "Everything okay? You look pale." I force myself to meet his eyes. They're completely calm, like he hasn't just destroyed my sister's life before it really began. "Everything's fine," I lie, my voice steady despite the rage building in my chest. "Just needed some air." He nods, already scrolling through his phone. I watch his face change for a split second. He's seen the messages, but he just pockets the device and heads back toward the reception, whistling. The bastard is whistling. I lean against the wall, my mind racing. In the reception hall, I can hear Camilla's laugh, that pure, joyful sound I've known since we were kids. The sound that's about to shatter when she learns the truth, because she has to learn the truth, doesn't she? My mother's voice echoes in my head. "Don't make a scene, Juliet. For once in your life, don't be difficult." That's what she'll say if I speak up. That's what they all say whenever I don't play along with their perfect family narrative. But this isn't about me being difficult. This is about protecting my sister from a man who couldn't even wait until after the wedding to betray her. I pull out my phone and text Serena, my best friend. "Need you. Emergency. Reception. Bathroom. Now." While I wait, I stare at my reflection in the ornate mirror. The name tag is still stuck to my bridesmaid dress, mocking me. I rip it off, crumpling the failure into a tight ball. The bathroom door opens and Serena slips in. One look at my face and she knows something's wrong. "What happened?" I open my mouth to tell her, but the words stick in my throat, because saying it out loud makes it real. Because once I tell her, I can't pretend this isn't happening, because whatever I do next will change everything. "Jules?" Serena touches my arm. "You're scaring me." I take a deep breath and meet her eyes in the mirror. "I just found out Leonardo is cheating on my sister. Has been for a while. And I have to decide right now if I'm going to blow up this entire wedding or let Camilla live in blissful ignorance." Serena's sharp intake of breath echoes off the bathroom tiles. "Oh God, what are you going to do?" I straighten my spine, something hardening in my chest. "I'm going to do what I do best," I say, reaching for the door handle. "I'm going to be difficult." Serena grabs my arm before I can storm back into the reception. "Jules, wait. You need a plan. You can't just watch me." I shake free, but she blocks the door. "5 minutes," she pleads. "Give me 5 minutes to think this through with you. Remember what happened at Thanksgiving?" That stops me. Last time I acted on impulse at a family gathering, I'd ended up sleeping in my car for a week. But this is different. This isn't about me. "Fine. 5 minutes." We huddle in the corner of the bathroom, heads together like we're back in high school plotting revenge on mean girls. Except now the mean girl is my brother-in-law, and the stakes are my sister's life. "You need to tell Camilla first," Serena says. "Privately, before you do anything public." She's right. Of course she's right. I check my makeup in the mirror, wiping away a smudge of mascara. "I'll pull her aside. There's that little garden terrace off the main hall." But when I find Camilla, she's surrounded by a cluster of college friends all squealing over her ring. I hover at the edge of their circle, trying to catch her eye. When she finally notices me, her smile dims slightly. "Jules, what's wrong? Can we talk? Privately?" She follows me to the terrace. The setting sun paints everything in soft gold, making this moment feel surreal. Moths flutter around the string lights, and I think about how fragile happiness is, how easily it can be crushed. "Cam, I need to tell you something about Leonardo." She crosses her arms. "If this is about his job again." "It's not. I saw messages on his phone. He's cheating on you." The words hang in the air between us. Camilla's face doesn't change, but her fingers tighten on her arms. "What exactly did you see?" I tell her everything, the texts, the photos, the plans for next week. With each detail, I watch her expression harden. "Show me," she says finally. "I can't. They're on his phone." "So you just happened to see his private messages?" My stomach drops. "Cam, no, Jules. I know you've never liked Leo. I know you think I'm making a mistake, but making up lies on my wedding day? That's low even for you." The familiar acid of being dismissed burns my throat. I'm not lying. Really? Because it sounds exactly like something you'd do to prove you're right about him. She takes a step back. "God, I can't believe you'd try to ruin this for me." "Camilla, please." "Just stop." Her voice cracks. "For once in your life, just stop trying to fix everything. I'm happy. Why can't you let me be happy?" She turns to go back inside, but I grab her wrist. "Wait, just wait here. 2 minutes." I sprint through the reception hall, ignoring my mother's hissed "Juliet" as I pass. Leonardo's still by the bar with his best man, Rick. Their heads are bent together, laughing about something. "Leo," I say sweetly, "can I borrow your phone? My battery died, and I need to call my ride." He hesitates for a fraction of a second. "Sure, Jules." He pulls it out, but before handing it over, his thumb moves quickly across the screen. Deleting messages. The bastard is deleting messages right in front of me. He hands me the phone with a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. I take it and walk away slowly, my mind racing. There has to be something left. Some proof. That's when I hear it. Rick's voice carrying just far enough. "Careful, man. She's sharper than she looks." I freeze, then casually drift closer to their conversation, pretending to fiddle with the phone. "It's handled," Leonardo mutters. "Unlike you handling Roslyn last month. Jesus, Rick, you almost blew everything." "Hey, I covered for you with that whole Miami story, didn't I? Even convinced Camilla you were at that conference when you were actually—" "Shut up," Leonardo hisses. "Not here." My hands shake as I open his photo gallery. Most recent images deleted, messages cleared. But there, in his recently deleted folder, he forgot about that. 3 photos remain, including one of him kissing a woman who definitely isn't my sister. I quickly send the photos to my own phone, then delete the evidence of the transfer. Walking back to the bar, I return his phone with a smile that matches his. All teeth, no warmth. On the terrace, Camilla's still waiting, arms wrapped around herself. Without a word, I hold up my phone, showing her the proof she demanded. She stares at the photos for a long time. Then she looks up at me and I see something break behind her eyes. "What do we do now?" she whispers. I take her hand. "Now? Now we make him pay." The microphone feels heavy in my hand as I stand, my champagne glass tinkling against the metal. Around me, 200 faces turn expectantly, waiting for what they assume will be another saccharine toast to the happy couple. Camilla sits rigid beside Leonardo, her smile fixed in place. We spent 20 minutes in that garden terrace plotting this moment. Her words echo in my head. "Make it hurt." I clear my throat. When I was 12, Camilla broke her arm falling from our treehouse. I watched her hit the ground, and I'll never forget the sound she made, this tiny broken gasp. I'm hearing that same sound today. The room stills. Leonardo's champagne glass freezes halfway to his lips. "You see, my sister deserves a love story. Instead, she got a cautionary tale." I turn to face Leonardo directly. "Would you like to tell everyone about Roslyn? Or should I?" The colour drains from his face. In the sudden silence, someone's fork clatters against a plate. "Jules." My mother's warning voice carries across the room. "Sit down." "No, Mom, not this time." My voice shakes, but I force myself to continue. My beautiful, brilliant sister just married a man who couldn't even wait until after the ceremony to text his girlfriend. Yes, girlfriend. Present tense. Gasps ripple through the crowd. Leonardo stands, his chair scraping against the floor. "You're drunk, Juliet, and making a fool of yourself." "Am I?" I pull out my phone. "Should we discuss the photos you forgot to permanently delete? Or maybe the Miami trip that wasn't actually a conference?" Rick, the best man, shifts uncomfortably in his seat. Our eyes meet, and something flickers across his face. Guilt, fear. Rick knows what I'm talking about, don't you? I watch him flinch. Want to tell everyone what really happened in Miami? That's enough! Leonardo slams his hand on the table. Crystal glasses jump, sending champagne splashing across the pristine tablecloth. But I'm not done. I have proof. Everything. The messages, the photos, the hotel receipts. She's lying, Leonardo cuts in smoothly, addressing the stunned crowd. Juliet has always been unstable, jealous of her sister's success. This is just another cry for attention. The familiar dismissal stings, but I stand my ground. Really? Then you won't mind if I show everyone? Show them what? He smirks and my blood runs cold. I check my phone. The photos are gone. All of them. Looking for these? Rick holds up his phone and I realize with horror what happened. While I was speaking, he must have remotely deleted them through the cloud sharing I'd forgotten to disable. The room starts to spin. I've lost my proof. Lost my credibility. Lost everything. Then Camilla stands. I saw them, she says quietly. The photos, the messages. I saw everything. Leonardo's head whips toward her. Baby! Don't! Her voice could freeze hell. Don't you dare! She turns to face our gathered family and friends, her wedding dress catching the light like broken glass. My sister is telling the truth. Every word. The silence shatters. Voices erupt in overlapping waves of shock and outrage. My mother's hands cover her face. Leonardo's parents huddle together, whispering frantically. I trusted you, Camilla continues, each word precise and cutting. I defended you. I chose you over everyone who tried to warn me, including my sister. She looks at me then, tears in her eyes. I'm so sorry, Jules. I should have listened. Leonardo grabs her arm. We can talk about this privately. Get your hands off my sister. The words tear from my throat before I can stop them. What happens next seems to unfold in slow motion. Rick stands, his face twisted with what looks like genuine remorse. I can't do this anymore. He pulls out his phone again, but this time he's not deleting evidence. He's sharing it. I kept copies, he says, not meeting Leonardo's murderous glare. Of everything, because I knew someday I'd have to make this right. Phones around the room start pinging with incoming messages. Leonardo lunges for Rick, but two of Camilla's cousins grab him before he can reach the best man. In the chaos that follows, I find myself standing still, watching my sister's wedding implode around me. I should feel triumphant, I should feel vindicated. Instead, I feel my mother's arms wrap around me from behind, the first time she's hugged me in years. My brave girl, she whispers against my hair. My brave, difficult, wonderful girl. And suddenly I'm 12 again, watching my sister fall, knowing the sound she's about to make. Only this time, I caught her before she hit the ground. The aftermath hits like a tsunami. Security escorts Leonardo out while guests mill around in shocked clusters, phones raised to capture every moment. I stand in the eye of the storm, watching my sister's wedding reception transform into a viral scandal in real time. You've really done it this time. My mother's earlier warmth has evaporated. She's back to her familiar disappointed stance, arms crossed, lips pressed into a thin line. Do you have any idea how much this wedding cost? Really, Mom? That's what you're worried about? Someone has to think practically. She gestures at the chaos around us. The venue, the catering, the gifts. The gifts can go back, Camilla interrupts, appearing beside me. She's changed out of her wedding dress into a simple black sheath. Just like the ring. My mother deflates slightly. Darling, maybe we should all take some time to... To what? Camilla's voice cracks. To pretend this didn't happen? To give him another chance? She laughs, but it sounds more like breaking glass. That's what you told Jules to do, isn't it? When her ex stole her artwork and sold it as his own? Take some time. Think it through. Don't be hasty. I stare at my sister. I'd never told her about that. I heard you and Dad talking about it, she explains, catching my look. I heard you tell Jules to let it go, to not make waves, and I said nothing. Her eyes fill with tears. I always said nothing. The weight of unspoken years hangs between us. All those times I'd fought my battles alone, thinking Camilla was just another witness to my difficult nature. Ladies, Rick approaches cautiously, phone in hand. We have a situation. He shows us Leonardo's latest Instagram post, a perfectly curated photo of him looking wounded but dignified, captioned with a paragraph about false accusations and family jealousy. The comments are already flooding in, taking sides. He's trying to control the narrative, Rick explains, and he's good at it, really good. Of course he is, I mutter. He's been managing his image since day one. Camilla grabs Rick's phone, scrolling through the comments. Her hands shake. People are believing him. They're calling Jules a bitter spinster and me a gullible fool. Honey, my mother starts, maybe we should take this down a notch. Think about your career. My career? Camilla's laugh turns hysterical. I'm an environmental lawyer, Mom. I literally fight corporate liars for a living, and I couldn't even spot one sleeping in my bed. She throws Rick's phone across the room. It hits the wall with a satisfying crack. I'll get you a new one, she tells Rick weakly. Don't worry about it. He runs a hand through his hair. I owe you both way more than a phone. I should have spoken up months ago. Why didn't you? I ask. He won't meet my eyes. Leonardo, he knows things. About everyone. It's how he operates. Find the weakness, exploit it, keep people in line. What does he have on you? Rick's silence speaks volumes. It doesn't matter, Camilla says suddenly. Whatever he has, whatever he says, it doesn't matter anymore. I'm done being afraid of the truth. She pulls out her own phone and starts typing furiously. Before anyone can stop her, she's posted a response to Leonardo's carefully crafted narrative. A raw, unfiltered account of everything, including screenshots Rick provided of Leonardo's other affairs. Camilla! Our mother looks horrified. Take that down immediately. No. My sister's voice is steel. I'm done taking things down, keeping things quiet, making things easier for everyone else. Jules was right all along. Some things need to be difficult. My phone buzzes. Then again. And again. Notifications pour in as Camilla's post goes viral, spreading across platforms like wildfire. Oh, God, my mother moans. The press will be all over this. Both your firms will. Good, Camilla and I say simultaneously. We look at each other and something shifts between us. Years of careful distance crumbling in an instant. She reaches for my hand. I need your help, Jules. Not just with Leonardo, but with everything after. I need my sister back. I never left, I whisper. I know. I was the one who stayed away. Trying to be perfect, trying to not rock the boat. She squeezes my hand. Teach me how to make waves. Behind us, our mother is still talking about damage control, about family reputation, about taking things offline. But for the first time in years, neither of us is listening. First lesson, I tell Camilla, a smile spreading across my face. The boat deserves to be rocked. She grins back, fierce and broken and beautiful. Then let's cause a storm. 3 days after the wedding explosion, I wake to find my art studio's front window shattered. Glass crunches under my boots as I step inside, heart pounding. The damage isn't random. My latest paintings, the series I've been working on for months, are slashed to ribbons. I touch one canvas, fingers trembling. The cuts are precise, surgical, professional. My phone rings. Camilla. Turn on the news, she says without preamble. Now. I pull up the local news site on my phone. Leonardo's smiling face fills the screen as he stands outside his law firm, looking every bit the wronged party. The headline makes my stomach turn. Prominent attorney speaks out about wedding scandal. Claims systematic harassment. He's saying we're orchestrating a smear campaign, Camilla's voice shakes. That we're doctoring evidence, manipulating Rick, trying to destroy his reputation out of family jealousy. I look around my destroyed studio. Yeah, I'm getting that message loud and clear. What do you mean? Before I can answer, the bell above my door chimes. I spin around to find Roslyn, Leonardo's not-so-secret girlfriend, standing among the broken glass. "I'll call you back," I tell Camilla, ending the call despite her protests. Roslyn surveys the destruction, her face unreadable. She's exactly as beautiful as her photos suggested, but there's something hard in her eyes that the camera missed. "Let me guess," I say. "Leonardo sent you to threaten me?" She laughs, but there's no humor in it. "Leonardo doesn't send me anywhere. That's kind of the problem." She perches on my paint-splattered work table, incongruous in her designer outfit. "You know what's funny? I actually came to thank you. Thank me for blowing everything up. I've been trying to end things with Leo for months, but he always had a way of making that difficult. The way she says difficult makes my skin crawl. What did he do? What didn't he do?" She pulls out her phone, showing me texts, emails, photos, a digital paper trail of manipulation and threats. Every time I tried to leave, he'd remind me how easily he could ruin me. My job, my reputation, everything. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because you need to understand what you're dealing with. That stunt at the wedding, the viral posts, that's just the beginning. Leo doesn't lose. Ever." As if on cue, my phone buzzes with a text from Rick. "Check your email. Emergency." I open my inbox to find a cease and desist letter from Leonardo's firm, threatening legal action for defamation. But it's the next email that makes my blood run cold. A message from the elementary school where I teach art, requesting an immediate meeting about my recent public behavior. "He's going after your job," Roslyn says softly. "Just like he went after your studio. Just like he'll go after everything else until you and your sister back down." "We won't." "Then be smarter than I was." She slides off the table. "Don't fight him in the open. He's got too much practice looking like the good guy." "So what, we just let him win?" "No." Her smile turns sharp. "We find his weakness. The one thing he can't spin or charm his way out of." I think about Rick's words at the wedding. Leonardo knows things. About everyone. "The evidence Rick shared," I say slowly. "That wasn't everything, was it?" "Not even close." Roslyn pulls a small USB drive from her purse. "Leo likes to keep receipts. Insurance, he calls it. Against clients, colleagues, friends, anyone who might someday become a problem." She places the drive on my table. 3 years of his private files. Emails, photos, recordings, everything he never wanted found. "Why give this to me?" "Because your sister was collateral damage. I never meant..." She stops, composes herself. "Just make it count, okay?" She turns to leave, but pauses at the door. "One more thing. When you use this, and you will, be prepared. Some of what's on there, it's going to hurt people you care about. Are you ready for that?" I look around my destroyed studio, at the shredded canvases that represented months of work. Think about the emails threatening my job, my sister's reputation, our future. "Yes," I say. "And I mean it." Roslyn nods. "Good. Because Leo's right about one thing. You're not just fighting him anymore. You're fighting an entire system that protects men like him. And that system..." She gestures at my ruined art. "It fights back." After she leaves, I stand in the wreckage of my studio holding the USB drive that could change everything. My phone buzzes again. Camilla, probably worried. But before I call her back, I need to decide. How far am I willing to go? And more importantly, who am I willing to take down with me? The contents of the USB drive spill across my laptop screen like toxic waste. Emails, photos, voice recordings, each file more damning than the last. My hands shake as I scroll through Leonardo's carefully catalogued collection of other people's secrets. "We can't use this," Camilla says, pacing my living room. "These aren't just Leonardo's victims. They're innocent people he's blackmailing. We'd be no better than him." She's right. The drive contains enough dirt to bury Leonardo 10 times over, but using it would mean destroying dozens of other lives. Colleagues who made mistakes, clients who trusted him, even judges who'd been compromised. My phone buzzes. Another email from the school board, third one today. The words "professional conduct review" and "termination" jump out at me. "They're suspending me," I tell Camilla. "Pending investigation into my pattern of disruptive behavior." She stops pacing. He can't do that. They can't fire you for exposing the truth. Watch me lose my job anyway. I close my laptop, unable to look at any more evidence of Leonardo's corruption. You know what the worst part is? The kids' art show is next week. I promised them I'd be there. Camilla's face hardens. Okay, screw this. We're using the files. What happened to we'd be no better than him? That was before he went after your kids' art show. She grabs my laptop. We just need to be selective. Find something that only hurts him. But as we dig deeper into the files, a pattern emerges. Leonardo hasn't just been collecting dirt, he's been weaving a web. Every piece of information connects to something else, someone else. Using any of it would trigger a cascade of consequences we couldn't control. Wait, Camilla says suddenly. Go back to that email thread. I scroll back to a conversation between Leonardo and someone named Marcus. The subject line reads, Riverside Development Deal. That's the project I've been investigating, Camilla explains, eyes scanning the text. A luxury development that mysteriously got approved despite environmental violations. I could never prove. Her voice trails off as she reads further. Oh my God. What? Leonardo knew. He knew the land was contaminated. He helped cover up soil test results that showed dangerous levels of toxins. She points to an attachment. Look, here's the original report they buried. Can you use this? This isn't just evidence of corruption, it's proof of criminal negligence. People could die if they build on that land. She straightens up. I need to take this to the EPA immediately. Cam, wait. I grab her arm. Think about what happens next. Leonardo will know where this came from. He'll release everything else in retaliation. Let him. Her voice is steel. Some things matter more than reputation. Before she can leave, my phone rings. Unknown number. Hello? Ms. Lucas, a woman's voice, professional but warm. This is Patricia from Channel 7 News. We're doing a story on Leonardo Perkins and the allegations of systematic corruption in his firm. Would you be willing to comment? I meet Camilla's eyes. She nods. Actually, I say, I think you're going to want to hear what my sister has to say. She's an environmental lawyer who's discovered something interesting about the Riverside Development Project. After we hang up, Camilla looks at me. You know what this means, right? Once I go public with this evidence, there's no going back for either of us. I know. The school board. Some things matter more than a job. She hugs me fiercely. I'll protect you this time, I promise. Just go save the world, counselor. I'll handle Leonardo's tantrum. As if summoned by his name, my phone buzzes with a text from Rick. Leo knows about the USB drive. He's on his way to your place. Don't let him in. Too late. A sharp knock echoes through my apartment. Juliet? Leonardo's voice smooth as ever. We need to talk. Camilla clutches the laptop to her chest. I point to my bedroom. There's a fire escape she can use to leave unseen. She shakes her head, but I push her toward it. Go, I whisper. Get that evidence somewhere safe. I'll keep him busy. Another knock, harder this time. I know you're in there, Jules. Don't make this difficult. I wait until I hear Camilla's quiet footsteps on the fire escape before opening the door. Leonardo stands there in his perfect suit, wearing his perfect smile. But his eyes are wild. Where is it? He demands, pushing past me into the apartment. I cross my arms, planting myself between him and my bedroom door. Where's what? Don't play games. The drive. Rosalind's drive. He steps closer, looming over me. Give it to me now, and maybe we can still fix this mess you've made. I smile, channeling every ounce of difficult, defiant energy I possess. You want to talk about messes, Leonardo? Let's talk about Riverside. The colour drains from his face, and I know we've won. Leonardo's composure cracks like thin ice. You have no idea what you're doing, he snarls, advancing on me. That development deal involves people you don't want to cross. I stand my ground, even as my heart hammers. You mean people like you? Men who think they can bury their crimes in paperwork and threats? He lunges for my laptop on the coffee table. I grab it first, clutching it to my chest. Give me the drive, Juliet. His voice drops dangerously low. Last chance. Or what? You'll destroy my career? Too late. Ruin my reputation. Already done. What's left, Leo? His smile turns cruel. Your mother's medical license review is next week, isn't it? Be a shame if the board received evidence of prescription irregularities. The air leaves my lungs. You wouldn't. Try me. He pulls out his phone. One call. That's all it takes to end her career. Your choice. My fingers tighten on the laptop. Mom and I have our issues, but this would destroy her. Everything she's worked for gone in an instant. Leonardo sees my hesitation. Smart girl. Now the door bursts open. Camilla strides in, followed by Rick and 2 people in FBI windbreakers. Actually, Camilla says, I think they'd like the drive. Leonardo spins around. What is this? This, one agent steps forward, is what happens when you threaten a federal witness. She turns to me. Ms. Lucas, are you all right? I nod, still clutching the laptop. You recorded that? Leonardo's face contorts. You little... Choose your next words carefully, Rick interrupts, holding up his phone. Still streaming. The second agent pulls out handcuffs. Leonardo Perkins, you're under arrest for witness tampering, conspiracy to commit fraud, and environmental violations under the Clean Water Act. You can't prove anything, Leonardo spits. No? Camilla pulls out her phone, plays a video. Leonardo's own voice fills the room, discussing the contaminated soil reports. Funny thing about evidence, it works better when you share it with the right people instead of using it for blackmail. As the agents read him his rights, Leonardo locks eyes with me. You think this is over? Everything on that drive goes public. Everyone gets burned. Already handled, Rick says. While Juliet kept you busy, we've been working with the FBI's cybercrime unit. The evidence of actual crimes will be used in prosecution. The personal information? Sealed by federal order. You planned this, Leonardo whispers. All of you. No. I step closer. We just learned from you. Find the weakness, exploit it, keep people in line. Isn't that how it works? The agents start leading him away, but I'm not done. You know what your weakness was, Leo. You thought everyone was like you, that we'd all choose self-preservation over doing what's right. But some of us... I glance at Camilla, at Rick. Some of us choose differently. After the agents leave with Leonardo, Camilla hugs me so hard it hurts. I'm sorry I left you alone with him. You didn't. I hug her back. You were exactly where you needed to be. Rick clears his throat. There's something else you should see. He holds up his phone, showing a social media feed exploding with support. Comments flood in from Leonardo's other victims, sharing their stories. The hashtag #DarkDifficultWomen is trending. Turns out, Rick says, you weren't the only ones he tried to silence. Once people saw you stand up to him, my phone buzzes. An email from the school board. I brace myself, but instead of more threats, it's an apology. They're launching an investigation into Leonardo's interference and want me back for the art show. We did it, I breathe. You did it, Camilla corrects. You stood up first, showed me how to be brave. Showed all of us, Rick adds. I think about the name tag from the wedding, the failure, written in my mother's perfect script. About all the times I was told to be quieter, smaller, less difficult. Should we call Mom? Camilla asks softly. Tell her she's safe. I nod, reaching for my phone, but pause. Hey, Cam, remember when we were kids and you fell from that tree house? Of course. You never told anyone, but I know why you fell. You were trying to catch me, stop me from jumping to the next tree. She smiles. You always did take the scary jumps. Yeah, well, I squeeze her hand. Thanks for jumping with me this time. Outside, camera flashes start popping as news vans arrive. The next few days will be chaos. Interviews, statements, proceedings. But for now, in my apartment with my sister and our unlikely ally, I feel something I haven't felt in years. Perfectly gloriously at peace with being difficult. Ready to face the cameras? Camilla asks. I straighten my spine. Ready to tell the truth. The elementary school hallway buzzes with excitement as kids and parents filter into the art show. My students' works line the walls, bright splashes of courage and imagination that refuse to be contained by paper borders. just like their teacher. Miss Jules, Emma tugs my sleeve, pointing to her painting. I did it just like you said. I made the scary parts beautiful. I kneel beside her, studying the swirling darkness she's transformed into stars. You absolutely did. Is it too difficult? She whispers, echoing my mother's favorite word. No, honey. It's exactly difficult enough. The crowd parts, and I spot my mother standing before Emma's painting. She's been quiet since Leonardo's arrest, since learning how close she came to losing everything. But she came tonight. That's something. It's chaotic, she says, tilting her head at the artwork, but purposeful, like someone I know. Before I can respond, Camilla bursts through the door, still in her court clothes. Did I miss it? Please tell me I didn't miss it. Perfect timing, I say, checking my watch. They're announcing the gallery selections in 5 minutes. She hugs me, whispering, Leonardo took the plea deal. Full confession. It's over. Relief floods through me, but there's something else in her voice. And I've been appointed to the state's new Environmental Oversight Committee. They want someone with a proven record of standing up to corporate corruption. I laugh. Look who's being difficult now. Learned from the best. She squeezes my hand. Oh, and Rick's here. He brought someone you should meet. Rick appears with a tall woman in a gallery owner's perfectly curated outfit. Jules, this is Marina. She saw your work online, the pieces Leonardo destroyed. I photograph everything, I explain. Digital backup of all my art after previous experiences. Marina nods. Rick showed me the photos, that series about silence and power. I have space in my gallery's upcoming exhibition on feminist perspectives, if you're interested. My heart stops. Marina's gallery is the kind of space I'd never dared approach, certain I'd be dismissed. My voice catches. The originals were destroyed, so recreate them. Bigger, bolder. Her eyes spark. Sometimes destruction is just renovation in disguise. The principal calls for attention, gathering everyone for the announcement of which student pieces will be displayed at the district art show. As she speaks, I feel a small hand slip into mine. Emma vibrating with nervous energy. What if they don't pick mine? She whispers. Then we'll know they weren't ready for something that brave. My mother appears on Emma's other side, taking her free hand. And brave is better than safe, she says, meeting my eyes. I should have taught you that a long time ago. The principal unfolds her paper. Our first selection, Emma Chen's Night Stars. Emma squeals, launching herself at the painting. My mother follows to help her take it down, but pauses. Juliet, that day, with the name tag. I never meant... I know, Mom. No, let me finish. I called you difficult because I didn't have the courage to be difficult myself. But watching you these past weeks, seeing you stand up not just for yourself, but for everyone else. She straightens her spine. I'm proud of you. My difficult, magnificent daughter. Camilla joins us, followed by Rick and Marina. Around us, children excitedly discuss their art, unafraid to take up space, to make noise, to be seen. Ready to see your new gallery space? Marina asks. I look at my family, my sister who jumped with me, my mother learning to embrace the chaos, even Rick who chose truth over safety. At Emma, proudly showing her difficult, beautiful painting to anyone who'll look. Actually, I say, I want to change the series title. Oh? Instead of Silence and Power, I smile, feeling the rightness of it. I want to call it Difficult Women. Perfect, Marina says. And the first piece? I turn to Emma's painting. Darkness transformed into stars, fear turned to beauty, silence broken by truth. This one. I want to recreate this one first. But that's not your art, my mother says, confused. No, I agree. It's better. It's what happens when we teach the next generation that their voice matters. That difficult isn't an insult. It's a superpower. Emma beams up at me, starlight and courage radiating from her small frame. Around us, the art show continues, a symphony of colour and chaos and children unafraid to make noise. And in that moment, I am exactly difficult enough.
I stood frozen at my daughter's wedding reception, watching my mother tap her champagne glass with a silver spoon. The familiar sound made my stomach twist. I knew that smirk on her face all too well. She was about to do what she did best, tear me down in front of everyone. My name is Lillian, and I should have been solely focused on how radiant my daughter Zaylee looked in her wedding dress. Instead, I was counting my breaths, trying to stay calm as my mother Valerie rose from her seat at the head table. "Before we continue with the celebrations," she announced, her voice carrying that sugary sweet tone that always preceded her worst moments, "I feel compelled to share some wisdom with my beautiful granddaughter." Beside me, my best friend Juliet squeezed my hand under the table. "Don't let her get to you," she whispered. But we both knew it was already too late. "Zaylee, darling," my mother continued, "you look absolutely stunning today, just like your Aunt Cynthia did at her wedding." Now she knew how to choose a good man. She paused, her eyes finding mine in the crowd. Unlike some of us, the wedding hall fell silent. I could see Zaylee's new husband, Micah, shifting uncomfortably in his seat. My sister Cynthia, perfect as always in her designer dress, looked down at her plate. "Mom," Zaylee started to protest, but Valerie waved her off. No, dear. This needs to be said. Marriage is sacred, and some people—" Another pointed look in my direction. "Some people treat it like a trial run. Your mother's divorce was such a disappointment to this family." The champagne in my glass trembled as my hand shook. 15 years of silence about what really happened in my marriage, all to protect her precious family image. 15 years of letting her spin the narrative that I was the failure, the one who couldn't keep a marriage together. "Lillian," my mother's voice cut through my thoughts, "perhaps you'd like to tell your daughter what not to do in her marriage? Share some of your to your experiences?" Juliet's grip tightened on my hand. "Don't you dare let her win again," she hissed. I looked at Zaylee, my beautiful, strong daughter, who had grown up watching me swallow my mother's insults. She was staring at me with a mixture of concern and something else. Was it hope? "Actually, Mother," I heard myself say, standing up slowly, "I would love to share some experiences." The surprise on her face was almost worth the years of torment. Almost. "Lillian, sit down," she commanded, but her voice wavered slightly. "No, you wanted me to speak, so I'm speaking." I grabbed the microphone from the nearby DJ stand. My hands were shaking, but my voice was steady. "You're right about one thing. Marriage is sacred. That's why I left mine." The room collectively held its breath. Even the servers stopped moving. "Zaylee, honey," I continued, looking directly at my daughter, "your grandmother has spent 15 years telling everyone I failed at marriage. What she hasn't told anyone is why I left your father." "Lillian," my mother's voice cracked like a whip, "this is neither the time nor the place." "It's exactly the time," I cut her off, "because my daughter deserves to know the truth on her wedding day. She deserves to know that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away." I could see Cynthia leaning forward, confusion etched on her face. She had always believed our mother's version of events, just like everyone else. "Mom," Zaylee called out softly, "go on." The love in her voice gave me strength. The microphone felt steadier in my hand as I took a deep breath, ready to shatter 15 years of carefully constructed lies. But before I could continue, my mother played her final card. She stood up, tears welling in her eyes, tears I knew were as fake as her concern had ever been. "Please," she pleaded, "think about what you're doing to this family. Think about your sister, about Zaylee's special day." "I'm thinking about Zaylee," I replied, my voice stronger than I'd ever heard it. "I'm thinking about how she deserves to know that her grandmother chose to protect her abusive son-in-law rather than her own daughter." The gasps were audible. Cynthia's champagne glass slipped from her hand, shattering on the floor. And my mother, for the first time in my life, was speechless. I gripped the microphone tighter, knowing there was no going back now. 15 years of secrets were about to come pouring out, and for once, I didn't care about the consequences. Sometimes revenge isn't about getting even. It's about finally telling your truth. The silence in the reception hall was deafening. My mother's face had turned an alarming shade of red, but for once, she wasn't the one controlling the narrative. "What did you just say?" Cynthia's voice cracked as she stood up, glass crunching under her heels. "You heard me," I replied, my voice surprisingly steady. Our dear mother knew exactly what Clifford was doing to me. She just didn't want anyone else to know. "That's ridiculous," my mother sputtered, but her usual confidence was cracking. Clifford was a perfect gentleman. "A perfect gentleman who put me in the hospital twice," I cut her off. "Remember that, Mother? Remember telling the nurses I fell down the stairs? Remember making me promise not to embarrass the family by pressing charges?" Zaylee pushed back from the head table, her white dress rustling as she stood. "Grandma, is this true?" "Of course not." My mother's voice rose shrilly. "Your mother is clearly having some kind of breakdown." "Show them your wrist, Mom," Zaylee interrupted. "Show them what he did." With trembling fingers, I pushed up my bracelet, revealing the jagged scar that ran across my wrist. "This wasn't from falling downstairs," I said quietly. "This was from being thrown through a glass door when I tried to leave him the first time." Juliet stood up beside me, her hand on my shoulder. "I was there that night," she announced. "I drove her to the emergency room, while Valerie was more concerned about what the neighbors would think." "You knew?" Cynthia turned to our mother, her perfect composure finally cracking. "You knew he was hurting her?" "I was protecting our family name," my mother snapped. "What was I supposed to do? Let her drag our reputation through the mud with a messy divorce and domestic violence charges?" The collective gasp from the wedding guests made her realize what she just admitted. She pressed her hand to her mouth, but it was too late. "So you'd rather have had me dead than divorced?" I asked, my voice eerily calm. "Because that's where it was heading, Mother. The night I finally left, he had his hands around my throat." "Stop this," my mother pleaded, looking around desperately. "This is Zaylee's wedding. We shouldn't be—" "No, Grandma." Zaylee's voice rang out clear and strong. "This is exactly what we should be doing. I've watched you tear Mom down my entire life, making her feel like she failed because she left an abusive marriage. I've watched you favor Aunt Cynthia because she stayed in her perfect marriage, never questioning what that perfection cost." Micah stood up beside his new wife, his arm protectively around her waist. "I think everyone here deserves to hear the truth, Mrs. Boyd." "The truth?" My mother laughed hysterically. "The truth is that your mother has always been dramatic, always seeking attention." "Like when I was seeking attention the night Clifford broke 3 of my ribs," I challenged. "Remember that, Mother? You told the doctor I'd fallen off a horse. We didn't even own horses." Cynthia walked over to me, her eyes filled with tears. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because Mother made sure I couldn't," I replied softly. "She convinced everyone I was unstable, that I was making things up. After a while, I almost started believing her myself." "I did what any mother would do," Valerie insisted, but her voice was weaker now. "I protected this family. You protected your reputation," Juliet snapped. "You protected your country club membership and your social standing. You didn't protect your daughter. And now," I continued, feeling stronger with each word, "you're standing at your granddaughter's wedding, trying to warn her about me, trying to make her think I'm the cautionary tale." "I'm proud of my mom," Zaylee declared, walking over to stand beside me. "She taught me that love shouldn't hurt, that we deserve better than abuse disguised as tradition or family obligation." My mother sank back into her chair, her carefully constructed world crumbling around her. But I wasn't finished. Not yet. "So yes, Mother, let's share some wisdom with Zaylee on her wedding day. Let's tell her the truth about what happened in this family. All of it." I saw the flash of fear in my mother's eyes as she realized what I meant, because the abuse in my marriage wasn't the only secret she'd helped bury over the years. "Lillian," she warned, "don't you dare." But I was done being silenced, done protecting lies, done watching my mother manipulate everyone around her. "Actually, Mother," I said, gripping the microphone tighter, "I think it's time we talked about Dad's accident, too. Because that wasn't quite the tragedy you made it out to be, was it?" The color drained from her face as I prepared to reveal the secret that would destroy what was left of her carefully crafted image. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just telling your own truth. It's exposing everyone else's lies, too. "Your father's death was an accident," my mother hissed, but her hands were shaking as she clutched the edge of the table. "Was it?" I challenged. "Because I found the letters, Mother. The ones Dad wrote before his accident. The ones where he threatened to expose your affair with his business partner." Cynthia stumbled backward, catching herself on a nearby chair. "What?" "Oh, yes," I continued, watching my mother's carefully constructed facade crumble. "Dad knew about you and Richard. He knew about the money you'd been helping him embezzle from the company. And he was going to turn you both in." "Stop this immediately," my mother commanded, but her authority was gone. The tremor in her voice betrayed her fear. "3 days before his car went off that bridge, Dad came to see me," I said, my voice carrying across the silent room. "He told me he had proof of everything. He was going to the authorities the next morning." "You're making this up," my mother whispered, but we both knew I wasn't. "I found the briefcase, Mother, the one that mysteriously disappeared after Dad's death. It was hidden in your garden shed all these years, wasn't it? Right where Richard helped you bury it." Juliet stepped forward. "I was there when Lillian found it last month. We saw everything. The bank statements, the photos, the letters. And you want to know the worst part?" I turned to face the stunned wedding guests. When I tried to tell people something was wrong with Dad's death, Mother did exactly what she did with Clifford. She convinced everyone I was unstable, attention-seeking, making things up. "Grandma?" Zaley's voice was barely a whisper. "Is this true?" My mother stood up suddenly, knocking over her chair. "This is preposterous. I won't stand here and listen to these lies." "Shall we call Richard?" I interrupted. "I'm sure he'd love to explain why he transferred $2 million to an offshore account the day after Dad died, or why he suddenly moved across the country and never contacted us again." "I have the copies," Juliet added, pulling an envelope from her purse. "All the documents, all the proof. We made sure to make multiple copies, just in case." Cynthia walked over to Juliet, hands trembling as she took the envelope. As she began reading, her face went pale. "Mom?" She looked up at our mother, tears streaming down her face. "How could you?" "Everything I did," my mother's voice cracked, "I did for this family. Your father was going to ruin us, expose us to scandal. He was going to expose your crimes," I corrected her. "And you couldn't let that happen, could you? Just like you couldn't let me expose Clifford's abuse, because nothing matters more to you than your precious reputation." "The police," someone in the crowd murmured. "Someone should call the police." "They've already been called," I said quietly. "I filed a report last week. They're reopening Dad's case." My mother's legs gave out, and she collapsed back into her chair. "You wouldn't," she breathed. "Your own mother." "My own mother?" I laughed bitterly. "My own mother who watched me get beaten and said nothing? Who helped cover up Dad's murder? Who spent years making me think I was crazy, making everyone believe I was the problem?" Zaley stepped forward, her wedding dress rustling. "I think it's time for you to leave, Grandma." "But—" My mother started to protest. "Now!" Zaley's voice was firm. "Before the police arrive." As if on cue, the sound of sirens could be heard in the distance. My mother's face went from red to white in seconds. "You've ruined everything," she spat at me, struggling to her feet. "All these years, I've tried to protect this family." "No," I cut her off. "You tried to protect yourself, and now everyone knows the truth. 2 police officers appeared in the doorway of the reception hall. The crowd parted silently as they approached. "Mrs. Boyd?" one officer asked, looking at my mother. "We need you to come with us." As they led her away, I felt a weight lift from my shoulders. Years of secrets, lies, and manipulation were finally coming to light. Cynthia came to stand beside me, still clutching the envelope of evidence. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "I should have known. Should have believed you." "You couldn't have known," I replied softly. She made sure of that. Zaylee wrapped her arms around me, her wedding dress enveloping us both. "I'm proud of you, Mom. So proud." Looking around at the shocked faces of our wedding guests, I realized this wasn't the celebration anyone had expected. But maybe it was exactly what needed to happen. Sometimes the truth, no matter how ugly, needs to come out. And sometimes the best wedding gift you can give is the gift of honesty, even when it shatters everything you thought you knew about your family. The next few hours passed in a blur of police statements and shocked conversations. Most of the wedding guests had left, leaving only close family and a few dedicated friends. Micah's parents were helping the catering staff clean up, trying to restore some semblance of normalcy to the devastated reception. "Mom," Zaylee called from across the room, "there's something else you need to see." She was holding a small, weathered envelope that had fallen from my mother's purse during the arrest. My hands trembled as I took it from her. "It's from Dad," I said, recognizing his handwriting. The envelope was dated just 1 day before his death. Cynthia appeared at my shoulder. "Open it," she urged softly. The letter inside was creased and yellowed, as if it had been read many times over the years. "My dearest Lillian, if you're reading this, something has happened to me. I've left evidence of everything in a safety deposit box at First National, Box 247. Your mother doesn't know about it. The key is taped inside your old dollhouse in the attic, the one place she never goes. I'm sorry I couldn't protect you from Clifford. I should have done more. Should have stood up to your mother. But I'm making it right now, even if it costs me everything. Take care of Cynthia. She doesn't know how deep this goes. Love, Dad." "She kept this from you all these years," Juliet said, reading over my shoulder. "She must have found it before you did." "The safety deposit box," Cynthia whispered. "We need to check it." "The bank's closed," I started to say. But Micah stepped forward. "My cousin works there," he said. "She can get us in after hours. This is important." An hour later, we stood in the bank's vault room. Me, Cynthia, Zaylee, and Micah. His cousin Sarah watched nervously as we opened Box 247. Inside was another envelope, thick with documents and a small recorder. "Is that a microcassette?" Zaylee asked, picking up the small device. My hand shook as I pressed play. Dad's voice filled the small vault room. "Richard, I know what you and Valerie have been doing. I have proof of every transaction, every lie. It stops now, or I'm going to the FBI. There was rustling, then my mother's voice. "Don't be foolish, Ray. Think about the girls, about our reputation." "I am thinking about the girls." Dad's voice cracked with emotion. "I'm thinking about how you let that monster hurt Lillian, how you've been manipulating Cynthia's life since she was a child. It ends now." The recording clicked off. "There's more," Cynthia said, pulling papers from the envelope. "Bank statements, photographs." She stopped suddenly, her face going pale. "Oh, God. What is it?" I asked. She held up a photograph. It showed our mother and Richard in what appeared to be a heated argument on the bridge where Dad died. The timestamp showed it was taken just hours before his accident. "There's a letter here," Micah said quietly, pulling out a sealed envelope. "It's addressed to both of you." With trembling fingers, I opened it and read aloud. "Lillian and Cynthia, if you're reading this, I failed to stop them, but I made sure the truth wouldn't die with me. Everything you need is here. Proof of the embezzlement, the affairs, the manipulation. and evidence of what they did to me, if my suspicions prove correct. Lillian, you were right about Clifford. I should have believed you. I should have stopped him. Your mother convinced me to stay quiet, said it would ruin the family if people knew. I was a coward, and you paid the price. Cynthia, there's something you need to know about your marriage to Thomas. Your mother arranged it through Richard. Thomas works for their shell company. Nothing about your relationship was accidental. I love you both. Be stronger than I was. Dad. Cynthia sank to the floor. The letter clutched to her chest. My whole marriage, she whispered. It was all orchestrated? All fake? I knelt beside her, wrapping my arms around her shoulders. We'll figure this out. Together. The police need to see all of this, Micah said, carefully gathering the documents. Wait, Zaley interrupted, pulling one last paper from the box. There's something else. It looks like coordinates. I took the paper, recognition dawning. These are directions to the lake house, Dad's old fishing cabin. The one Mother always refused to visit? Cynthia asked, wiping her eyes. He wrote something here, I said, squinting at the faded ink. The rest is buried under the dock. Be careful who you trust. We all looked at each other, the weight of what we'd discovered settling over us. This wasn't just about exposing our mother's lies anymore. This was about uncovering a conspiracy that had shaped our entire lives. We need to go to that lake house, I said firmly, tonight, because somehow I knew that what we'd found so far was just the beginning. The real truth and the real danger was still waiting to be uncovered. The headlights of Micah's SUV cut through the darkness as we pulled up to the lake house. Zaley was still in her wedding dress, having refused to waste time changing. The moon reflected off the water, casting eerie shadows across the weathered dock. I can't believe it's still standing, Cynthia murmured, staring at the cabin we hadn't visited in 15 years. Look, Zaley pointed to tire tracks in the gravel. Someone's been here recently. My heart stopped. Mother knew about the safety deposit box. What if she knew about this place, too? We need to hurry, Micah said, pulling out flashlights from his emergency kit. The police said they're on their way, but it'll take them at least an hour to get here. We made our way down to the dock, our lights dancing across the dark water. The wooden planks creaked under our feet. Dad's note said under the dock, I reminded them, getting down on my hands and knees to shine the light underneath. There! Partially buried in the mud was a metal box, secured with a heavy padlock. I'll get it, Micah offered, rolling up his sleeves. He waded into the shallow water, reaching for the box. Suddenly, a voice cut through the darkness. I wouldn't do that if I were you. We spun around. Richard, my mother's former business partner, stood at the end of the dock, holding something that glinted in the moonlight. Is that a gun? Zaley gasped. Step away from the dock, Richard commanded. All of you. 15 years, I said, my voice shaking with anger. 15 years you've been free after what you did to my father. Your father was going to ruin everything, Richard snarled. The company, our reputations, the life we'd built. We couldn't let that happen. We? Cynthia asked. You mean you and Mother? A bitter laugh escaped his lips. Your mother? She was just a pawn, useful for keeping Ray distracted while I moved the money. Did you really think she was smart enough to orchestrate all this? But the affair, I started, was convenient, he cut me off. She was so desperate for attention, so easy to manipulate, just like she manipulated all of you. Micah had quietly moved behind us, shielding Zaley. I could hear police sirens in the distance. It's over, Richard, I said firmly. We have the evidence. All of it. No, he growled. You have what Ray wanted you to find. Insurance, he called it. But the real proof. He gestured to the box in the water. That would destroy everything and everyone, including you, Cynthia realized. That's why you're here. Mother told you about the lake house when they arrested her. The sirens were getting closer. Richard's hand tightened on the gun. "I've spent 15 years protecting this secret," he said. "I'm not going to let it all fall apart now." "You killed our father," I said, taking a step forward. "You let my mother torture us with lies. You orchestrated my sister's entire marriage. For what? Money?" "Power," he corrected. "The money was just a bonus. Your father's company was the key to everything. The connections, the influence, the illegal dealings," Micah suggested. "The fraud?" Richard's face twisted. "You have no idea how deep this goes. How many people are involved? Your father stumbled onto something much bigger than a simple embezzlement scheme." The sirens were very close now. Red and blue lights began to flash through the trees. "It's over," I said again. "Whatever's in that box, the police will find it." "No," Richard raised the gun. "They won't." Everything happened in a blur. Richard fired at the water, aiming for the box. Micah lunged forward, tackling him. The gun went off again, the shot going wide. Zaylee screamed. Police cars burst through the trees, flooding the area with light. Officers poured out, weapons drawn. "Drop the weapon!" they shouted. Richard struggled against Micah, trying to aim one last shot at the box in the water. But before he could pull the trigger, Cynthia swung an oar from the dock, catching him square in the face. He crumpled, the gun clattering onto the wooden planks. As the police handcuffed Richard, I waded into the water, retrieving the metal box. It was dented from the bullet, but intact. "Mom," Zaylee called out, pointing to something floating near the dock. It was a key, probably fallen from Richard's pocket during the struggle. With trembling hands, I fitted the key into the lock. Inside the box were more documents, a USB drive, and a detailed ledger with names, dates, and amounts. "Oh my God," Cynthia breathed, looking over my shoulder. "These are judges, politicians, business leaders." "Your father uncovered a corruption ring," one of the detectives said, carefully taking the box. "This could bring down half the city's elite." I stared at the evidence of my father's final investigation, understanding at last why he had died, and why my mother had spent 15 years trying to keep us from the truth that would now finally come to light. The police station buzzed with activity at 3 a.m. Zaylee sat beside me, still in her wedding dress, now stained with lake water and mud. Cynthia paced the small interview room while 2 FBI agents reviewed the documents we'd found. "Mrs. Boyd is ready to talk," a detective announced, entering the room. "She's asking for both of you." Cynthia stopped pacing. "I can't face her." "We have to," I said, standing up. "We need to hear the truth from her. All of it." The holding cell area was cold and stark. Our mother sat at a metal table, her perfectly manicured hands folded in front of her. She looked smaller somehow, older, her carefully maintained facade crumbling. "My girls," she whispered as we sat down across from her. "Don't," Cynthia snapped. "Just tell us why." "I never meant for any of this to happen," she began, her voice trembling. "Richard approached me about the company finances. Small things at first, moving money between accounts, adjusting records. It seemed harmless. Until Dad found out," I added. She nodded. "Richard had involved me in so much by then. When your father threatened to expose everything, Richard showed me what he really was, what he was capable of." "So you helped him kill Dad?" Cynthia's voice cracked. "No!" Our mother leaned forward. I thought Richard would just talk to him, convince him to stay quiet. I didn't know he was planning to." She covered her face with her hands. "What about Clifford?" I demanded. "Was he part of this too?" She lowered her hands, looking at me with tears in her eyes. "Richard chose him for you. Said we needed someone who could be controlled, who would keep you in line if you started asking questions about your father's death." My stomach lurched. "You let him abuse me? On purpose?" "I was trapped," she cried. "Richard threatened to expose everything. Said he'd make sure you both went down with me. I thought if I could just keep everything quiet, keep the family's reputation intact. And my marriage? Cynthia asked quietly. Was that all Richard too? Our mother wouldn't meet her eyes. Thomas works for one of Richard's shell companies. They needed someone on the inside of the family, someone to watch us, to make sure we never talked. The detective who'd been standing quietly in the corner stepped forward. Mrs. Boyd, we need you to tell us about the other people involved, the names in that ledger. If I do, she looked up at him, what happens to my daughters? We're not your daughters anymore, Cynthia said coldly. You lost that right when you chose your reputation over our lives. A knock at the door interrupted us. Another detective entered, looking grave. Richard was just found dead in his cell, he announced. Apparent suicide. No, our mother whispered, her face draining of color. No, no, no. They'll think I talked. They'll come after all of us now. Who will? I demanded. Who else is involved? Judges, politicians, business leaders, she babbled, growing increasingly panicked. They're all connected. Richard was just the tip of the iceberg. Your father found evidence of bribes, blackmail, murder. That's why you kept us away from the lake house, I realized. You knew Dad had hidden proof there. She nodded frantically. Richard said if anything ever came out, we'd all be targets. That's why I had to keep you quiet, keep you controlled. I thought I was protecting you by destroying our lives. Cynthia stood up so suddenly her chair clattered to the floor. By watching me marry a man who was paid to spy on me? By letting Lillian be beaten? We need to move you all to protective custody, the detective interrupted. If what she's saying is true, you're all in danger. I'm not going anywhere with her, I stated firmly. Please, our mother begged. I know I can never make this right, but let me help now. Let me tell them everything I know. Maybe then what? I asked bitterly. We'll forgive you? Become one big happy family again? No, she whispered. But maybe I can finally do what your father tried to do. Maybe I can help bring them all down. The detective's phone buzzed. His face grew serious as he read the message. Thomas was just found in his car outside Cynthia's house, he said grimly. He had a gun and detailed files on all of you. He was waiting. Cynthia collapsed back into her chair, shaking. You see, our mother pleaded, they're already moving. Please let me help protect you. It's the only thing I can do now. I looked at my sister, at the devastation on her face, then back at our mother. The woman who had orchestrated so much pain was now offering to help end it. But could we trust her? Could we trust anything anymore? The detective's phone buzzed again. We need to move. Now. They found Juliet. What do you mean they found Juliet? I grabbed the detective's arm. Is she okay? She's alive, he assured me quickly. But her house was broken into. They took her laptop, the one with copies of your father's evidence. There are more copies, my mother interjected. In a safe at the country club. Richard didn't know about them, but... The country club? Cynthia interrupted. The one where half these corrupt officials are members? Exactly, our mother nodded. It was the perfect hiding place. They'd never think to look in their own backyard. The detective was already on his radio. I need a team at Oakwood Country Club, now. I have to go with them, our mother insisted. The safe is hidden behind a false panel in the women's locker room. I'm the only one who knows exactly where. This could be a trap, I warned the detective. No, my mother grabbed my hand. For the first time in years, I saw real fear in her eyes. Lillian, please. I know I don't deserve your trust, but this is our chance to finish what your father started. My phone rang. It was Juliet. They're watching the hospital, she said without preamble. I just saw 2 men asking about Zaylee and Micah. My blood ran cold. After the lake house incident, we sent them to the hospital to get checked out, just in case. Get them out, I ordered. Use the service entrance. We'll meet you. The safe house on Pine Street, the detective cut in. We have officers there already. Everything moved quickly after that. While one team headed to the hospital, another escorted us to the country club. The parking lot was empty at this hour, our footsteps echoing in the darkness. Through here, our mother whispered, leading us to a service entrance. She punched in a code and the door clicked open. The locker room was eerily silent. Our mother moved with purpose to a row of wooden panels. Help me with this, she said, pushing against one section. It swung open, revealing a small safe. As she reached for the keypad, a voice spoke from the shadows. Step away from the safe, Valerie. A man emerged from behind the lockers, elderly, distinguished-looking, wearing an expensive suit despite the hour. I recognized him immediately. Judge Marcus, one of the most respected officials in the city. It's over, Marcus, our mother said, her voice steady. Richard is dead. Thomas has been caught. The FBI has the ledger. And yet here you are, he smiled coldly, about to make the same mistake Ray did, thinking you can expose us without consequences. More footsteps approached. 2 more men in suits entered the locker room. The difference is, my mother continued, Ray was alone. I'm not. On cue, FBI agents emerged from their hiding places around the room, weapons drawn. Judge Marcus, the lead agent announced, you're under arrest. But Marcus just laughed. You have no idea what you're dealing with. One phone call and I can what? Cynthia stepped forward, holding up her phone. Call your friends on the force, the ones who've been taking bribes, because they're being arrested right now, along with 3 state senators, 2 district attorneys, and the police commissioner, I added. Turns out Dad's evidence was very thorough. Marcus's composed facade cracked. Valerie, he snarled, after everything we did for you. You did nothing for me, our mother spat. You used me to get to Ray, used my children as pawns, made me think I was protecting them when I was really just helping you destroy them. She turned to the safe and quickly entered the code. Inside was a thick manila envelope and a small recording device. Here, she handed them to the FBI agent. Everything Ray collected, names, dates, bank accounts, recordings of meetings, proof of every crime, every cover-up, every murder you ordered. As the agents led Marcus and his associates away, I looked at my mother with new eyes. You knew, I said quietly. You knew exactly what was in that safe all along. She nodded. Ray showed me before everything happened. Made me memorize the location, the code. Said someday I'd have to choose between their protection and the truth. And you chose their protection, Cynthia said bitterly. Yes, our mother whispered. Because I was a coward. Because I thought I could keep you safe by keeping you controlled. I was wrong. Your father was right. The only way to truly protect someone is to fight for the truth, no matter the cost. The FBI agent returned. We need to get you all to the safe house. This is just the beginning. Once we start making arrests, others will try to retaliate. As we left the country club, I realized this wasn't the revenge I'd originally sought at Zaley's wedding. This was bigger than exposing our mother's lies. This was about finishing what Dad had died trying to do, bringing down an entire network of corruption that had destroyed countless lives. And somehow, ironically, it had taken our mother's final act of redemption to make it possible. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters as I made my way inside. Juliet squeezed my hand as we passed through security. Today was the final testimony in a trial that had shaken our city to its core. Ready? Zaley asked, meeting us in the hallway. She was wearing the same determined expression I'd seen on her wedding day, the day that had started all of this. Inside the courtroom, I saw my mother sitting at the witness stand. She looked smaller than I remembered, but her voice was clear and steady as she detailed decades of corruption, naming names and providing dates with unflinching precision. Judge Marcus and his associates sat stone-faced at the defense table. Behind them, I could see Cynthia in the gallery, clutching a folder of divorce papers. Her eyes met mine, and she gave a slight nod. "And what made you finally decide to come forward?" the prosecutor asked our mother. She looked directly at me. My daughter showed me that protecting lies isn't the same as protecting people. She had the courage to speak the truth at her own daughter's wedding, even knowing what it would cost her. I realized it was time I did the same. The prosecutor turned to the jury. "And the evidence you provided, the documents from the country club safe. Where did those originally come from?" "My husband, Ray," she replied, her voice catching. "He died trying to expose this corruption. I helped cover it up because I was afraid, but he left the evidence where he knew we'd eventually find it, where he knew his daughters would be brave enough to use it." After the testimony, we gathered in the courthouse lobby. Reporters clamored outside, but for now, we had a moment of quiet. "The jury won't take long," Juliet said. "Not with all that evidence." "It's not just about the conviction anymore," I replied, watching my mother being led back to custody. "It's about the truth finally being heard." Cynthia joined us, her divorce papers now officially filed. "Thomas took a plea deal," she announced. "He's testifying against the rest of the organization." "Good," Zaley said firmly. "Let them all go down together." My mother's attorney approached us. "She's asking to speak with you both," he said to me and Cynthia. In private, we followed him to a small conference room. Our mother sat at the table, her hands folded in front of her, just like at the police station. "I know I can never make up for what I did to you both," she began, "but I want you to know, your father would be so proud of you. You did what I should have done 15 years ago." "Why didn't you?" Cynthia asked. "When Dad first showed you the evidence, why didn't you help him then?" "Because I was more concerned with appearances than truth," she replied simply. "I thought I could control everything. Your lives, your relationships, the narrative. I was wrong." "Yes," I said. "You were." She nodded. "I'm not asking for forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that everything coming out now, all these arrests, all these corrupt people finally facing justice, it's because of you. Because you were stronger than I ever was." A knock at the door interrupted us. The jury had reached a verdict. Back in the courtroom, we listened as guilty was pronounced again and again. Judge Marcus slumped in his chair. His corrupt empire was finally crumbling. Outside, reporters thrust microphones at us, asking for statements. But it was Zaley who stepped forward. "This started at my wedding," she said clearly, "when my mother had the courage to speak the truth about family abuse. It ended here, with the exposure of corruption that has poisoned our city for decades. The lesson is simple. Secrets only protect the guilty. The truth, no matter how painful, sets us all free." Later that evening, we gathered at Juliet's house. Me, Cynthia, Zaley, Micah, and Juliet. On the TV, news channels were still reporting on the verdicts, showing footage of prominent figures being led away in handcuffs. "Dad would have loved this," Cynthia said softly, raising her glass. "To the truth." "To the truth," we echoed. "And to new beginnings," Zaley added, snuggling closer to Micah. "Without lies or manipulation or forced marriages." "Speaking of new beginnings," Juliet grinned, "wait until you hear who asked me out." As she launched into her story, I looked around at my real family. Not the perfect image my mother had tried to maintain, but something better. Honest, flawed, and real. The truth had cost us our mother, our illusions, and our carefully constructed social standing. But it had given us something far more valuable. Freedom. Freedom to be ourselves, to choose our own paths, to love without conditions or controls. And somewhere I knew Dad was smiling, because his daughters had finally finished what he started, not just exposing corruption, but breaking free from the chains of lies that had bound our family for so long. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. Sometimes it's about getting free.
The cream-colored envelope sits on my kitchen counter like a bomb waiting to detonate. I've been circling it for hours, running my fingers along its expensive textured surface, tracing the gold calligraphy that spells out my name. The invitation inside is even worse. Thick cardstock dripping with false sincerity, requesting my presence at the wedding of Royce and Helen, my ex and my former best friend. How thoughtful of them to include me. I pour another glass of wine, my third since the mail arrived. The autumn sun streaming through my apartment windows feels too bright, too cheerful for this moment. My phone buzzes again. Probably Gemma, checking if I'm okay. I'm not okay. I'm so far from okay that okay feels like a distant country I once visited in a dream. You have to go, Gemma had insisted earlier. Show them you're above it all. Show them they didn't break you. But they did break me. I, Emily Parker, who prided myself on being unbreakable, am sitting here with mascara-stained cheeks, contemplating whether to RSVP to my own personal nightmare. The memory of how I found out about them still burns fresh. That Sunday brunch, 3 months ago, when I walked into our favorite cafe and saw them wrapped around each other in our usual booth. They didn't even have the decency to look guilty. Helen's perfectly manicured hand rested on Royce's chest, the same chest I'd laid my head on countless nights, while he smiled that infuriatingly charming smile. "Emily," he'd said, as if we were all old friends meeting for coffee. "We were going to tell you. Were you? Before or after you moved her into our old apartment? Before or after you gave her my grandmother's recipe book that I'd left behind?" My wine glass is empty again. I reach for my phone, finally ready to face Gemma's messages. Instead, I find myself staring at a photo from last year's Christmas party. Helen, Royce, and me, all smiles and holiday sweaters. Helen's arm around my shoulders, her face turned toward mine in conspiratorial friendship. Looking at it now, I can see the hints I missed. The way Royce's body angled toward her, the possessive grip of her fingers on my shoulder, marking her territory. The doorbell startles me out of my spiral. Through the peephole, I see Gemma's concerned face, and behind her is that Jasper, Royce's best friend since college. My hands shake as I open the door. "What are you doing here?" Jasper looks uncomfortable, shifting his weight from foot to foot. "Emily, there's something you need to know about the wedding invitation." "I really don't. It wasn't Helen's idea," he cuts in. Royce insisted. He said. Jasper glances at Gemma, who nods encouragingly. He said having you there would be the perfect way to show everyone he'd won. That you were just the practice run for his real happy ending. The words hit like a physical blow. Practice run. The room spins slightly, wine and rage mixing into something dangerous in my blood. 6 years of my life, reduced to a practice run. Gemma's voice seems to come from far away. "Maybe you should sit down." But I'm already moving, grabbing my laptop from the coffee table. My fingers fly across the keyboard as I pull up the wedding RSVP page. Jasper and Gemma hover nervously as I click accept and type in my response. "One guest, dietary restrictions, none. Special notes, looking forward to toasting the happy couple." "Emily," Gemma says slowly, "what are you thinking?" I close the laptop with a decisive click. The fog of wine and grief has burned away, replaced by crystal clarity. I'm thinking it would be rude to decline such a thoughtful invitation. After all, I meet their worried gazes with a smile that feels foreign on my face. I have so much I want to say to the happy couple. Jasper takes a step back, and I catch something in his expression. Not just concern, but recognition. He knows something about Royce that made him come here today. Something beyond this petty wedding drama. "Jasper," I keep my voice light, casual. "Is there anything else I should know about the happy couple?" He swallows hard, glancing at the door like he might bolt. I should go. But as he turns to leave, I catch his whispered words. "Just be careful. Royce isn't who any of us thought he was." The door closes behind him, leaving me with Gemma and the thundering of my heart. Practice run. Happy ending. Oh, Royce. You have no idea what's coming. I pick up the invitation again, running my finger along the embossed date. 3 weeks. 3 weeks to uncover whatever Jasper is hiding. 3 weeks to plan exactly how I'm going to turn their perfect day into the reckoning they deserve. The wedding venue looks exactly like something Helen would choose. All sweeping staircases and crystal chandeliers. The kind of place that screams old money trying to look older. I'm here for the rehearsal dinner, watching the sunset paint the marble columns gold, while my stomach ties itself in knots. You don't have to do this, Gemma whispers beside me. She's been my shadow all week, ever since Jasper's cryptic warning. We can still leave, but I can't. Not when I've finally started pulling at the threads of Royce's perfect facade. 3 days of careful digging have revealed interesting patterns, unexplained absences, mysterious phone calls, and a company credit card with some very creative expenses. Emily. Helen's voice cuts through my thoughts, sugary sweet and sharp as glass. I'm so glad you came. She's wearing a white cocktail dress that probably costs more than my monthly rent, her smile fixed and brittle. Behind her, Sylvia, her mother and my former almost mother-in-law, watches with barely concealed disdain. Helen. I force myself to smile back. Wouldn't miss it. Though I must admit, she continues, I was surprised you accepted, given everything. The memory floods back unbidden. Not just the cafe betrayal, but the moment 2 weeks later when I discovered they'd been together for months. All those girls' nights Helen had canceled. All those late meetings Royce claimed to have. I'd been so blind. Water under the bridge, I lie smoothly. We're all adults here, Sylvia sniffs. Some more than others, clearly. Helen, darling, the florist needs you. They sweep away, leaving the scent of expensive perfume and judgment in their wake. Gemma squeezes my arm. You okay? Fine. I'm not fine. I'm remembering all the Sunday dinners at Sylvia's house, how she used to call me daughter, how she promised my mother before she died that she'd look after me. Now she can barely meet my eyes. The rehearsal dinner begins. A choreographed display of wealth and false sentiment. I watch Royce work the room, that familiar charisma drawing everyone into his orbit. He hasn't acknowledged me yet, but I feel his awareness like a current in the air. Quite a show, isn't it? I turn to find Nathaniel, one of Royce's business partners, studying me with unusual intensity. We've met at company parties before, but never really talked. There's something different about him tonight. A tension in his shoulders, a careful distance from the celebration. Almost makes you forget what's underneath. He continues quietly. My pulse quickens. And what's underneath? He glances around before leaning closer. Meet me by the garden fountain in 20 minutes. There's something you should see. Before I can respond, he's gone, leaving me with questions burning in my throat. Across the room, Royce finally catches my eye. His smile doesn't waver, but something dark flickers across his face. Possession, triumph, warning. The next 20 minutes crawl by like honey in winter. I make small talk, dodge pointed comments about my single status, and watch the clock. When I finally slip away to the garden, my hands are shaking. Nathaniel is waiting, a manila envelope in his hands. Before I give you this, he says, I need to know what you plan to do with it. That depends on what's in it. Evidence. His voice is grim. Of what Royce really is. What he's been doing to the company, to people who trust him, to you. The fountain burbles quietly behind us as he hands over the envelope. Inside are bank statements, emails, photographs, a paper trail of destruction. My vision blurs as I read, horror mounting with each page. He's been embezzling, Nathaniel explains softly, using the company to fund a separate life. Helen doesn't know, or doesn't want to know. But there's more. I find it near the bottom. Credit card statements showing hotel charges in New York. On weekends, when Royce was supposedly with me, when Helen was supposedly visiting her sister. He never chose between you, Nathaniel says. He was playing you both, and others. The truth hits like a physical blow. All those business trips, those late nights at the office. He hadn't left me for Helen. He'd been with both of us, probably others, crafting separate lives like some twisted architect of deception. Why are you showing me this? Nathaniel's eyes are serious in the gathering dusk. Because the board meeting is next week, right after the wedding. He's planning something big, something that could ruin a lot of lives. And you, he pauses, you might be the only one who can stop him. Inside, the rehearsal dinner continues. Laughter floating through the open windows. I clutch the envelope, feeling the weight of its secrets. My simple revenge fantasy has just become something much darker, much more dangerous. And Royce, damn him, is watching me through the window, raising his glass in a mock toast. I spend the night studying Nathaniel's documents until my eyes burn, piecing together the scope of Royce's deception. By dawn, my apartment floor is a maze of paper trails and broken trust, each revelation stoking the fire in my chest. My phone buzzes. Gemma, turn on the news, now. The morning business report hits like a sledgehammer. Allegations of financial misconduct at Robertson Industries. Sources suggest internal investigations. The anchor's voice fades as my mind races. This isn't just about me anymore. This is bigger than broken hearts and betrayed friendships. I'm halfway through my second coffee when someone pounds on my door. Helen stands there, mascara streaked down her face, clutching her phone like a lifeline. "Did you do this?" she demands, pushing past me. "Are you behind these rumors? Funny how quickly you assume I'm to blame." I close the door, watching her pace my living room like a caged animal. "Shouldn't you be asking your fiancé about this?" Royce says it's all lies, competitors trying to tank the stock before the merger. She stops, finally noticing the papers scattered across my floor. Her face drains of color. "What is all this?" "The truth." I hand her one of the hotel receipts, dated during her supposed sister's weekend. "Though I'm guessing you already knew some of it." She stares at the paper, hands trembling. Don't what, Helen? Don't want to admit you knew he was playing us both? Or that he's still playing you? You don't understand," she whispers. "The wedding has to happen. My father's company depends on this merger. If Royce goes down..." She looks up, and for a moment, I see the friend I used to know. Scared, vulnerable, trapped. "Please, Emily, whatever you're planning, don't." The old me would have softened, would have tried to help. But I remember how she looked in that cafe, wearing the necklace I'd left at Royce's apartment, smugly certain of her victory. "Like you stopped when I begged you to tell me the truth?" My voice comes out harder than I intended. "When did it start, Helen? When did you decide I was disposable?" She flinches. "It wasn't like that. He has a way of making you feel special, like you're the only one who understands him." Her laugh is bitter. "I suppose we both fell for it. But you stayed, even after you knew about the others." "Others?" Something shifts in her expression. "What others?" Before I can respond, my phone rings. Nathaniel. Helen recognizes his name on the screen and goes very still. "You're working with him." Her voice rises. "Do you have any idea what he's capable of?" I answer the call on speaker. "Emily," Nathaniel says urgently, "don't trust anything Helen tells you. She's been helping Royce cover his tracks. The whole wedding is just a smokescreen for..." Helen lunges for my phone, ending the call. "He's lying. Nathaniel's the one you can't trust. He's been obsessed with taking down Royce for years." "Why should I believe you?" "Because," she takes a deep breath, "I can prove Nathaniel is behind the embezzlement. Royce caught him months ago, but kept it quiet to protect the company. The wedding, the merger, it's all to save jobs, to keep everything from collapsing." My head spins. Who's playing whom? The documents in front of me tell one story, but Helen's fear seems genuine, and Nathaniel's convenient appearance, his ready-made evidence. "Show me," I demand. "Show me your proof." She pulls out her phone, fingers flying over the screen. "Come to the office tonight. Everything you need to know is there." She heads for the door, then pauses. "I know you hate me, Emily, but please, Wait until you see everything before you decide who the real villain is. After she leaves, I sit among the scattered papers, trying to make sense of it all. My phone buzzes with a text from Gemma. Just heard from Jasper. Says he needs to talk. ASAP. I text back. When? Now. Says it's about Nathaniel and Helen. Things aren't what they seem. The rage that's been driving me suddenly feels hollow, replaced by a creeping uncertainty. I've been so focused on revenge, so sure of who deserved my anger. But what if I'm just another piece being moved across someone else's board? My phone buzzes again. Royce this time. My finger hovers over decline, but his message preview stops me cold. I know you have the documents, but you don't know the whole story. Someone's going to get hurt, Emily. And this time, it won't be you. I stare at the message, feeling the ground shift beneath my feet. In less than 12 hours, everything I thought I knew has unraveled. The question isn't just who to trust anymore, it's who's really pulling the strings. The office building looms dark against the evening sky, most windows already dark. My heels click against marble as I cross the lobby. Helen's keycard burning a hole in my pocket. She'd texted it to me an hour ago. 4th floor, executive files. The truth you need is in Royce's personal drive. Gemma's warning echoes in my head. It's a trap, Em. Why would she suddenly want to help you? But I'd seen the fear in Helen's eyes this morning. Whatever game she's playing, there's real desperation behind it. The elevator doors open to a silent floor. My phone buzzes. Jasper, again. I've been dodging his calls since our coffee meeting earlier, where he'd dropped another bomb. Nathaniel isn't just Royce's business partner, he'd said, hands wrapped around his untouched coffee. He was engaged to Helen 3 years ago, before Royce, before everything fell apart. The revelation had shifted my entire perspective. Nathaniel's help wasn't random. It was calculated, personal. I find Royce's office easily, muscle memory from countless lunch visits guiding me. The door unlocks with a soft click. Everything looks exactly the same. The pretentious modern art, the wall of business awards, the oversized desk where we'd once, focus. The computer wakes with a hum. Helen's login works, but as I start searching through files, something feels off. Everything's too neat, too obvious. A folder labeled Merger Documents practically screams setup. I wondered if you'd come. I spin around. Nathaniel stands in the doorway, his expression unreadable, here to show me more evidence. My voice stays steady, despite my racing heart. Or should I ask Helen about your history? He doesn't flinch. So Jasper told you. Did he also tell you why the engagement ended? I'm guessing Royce had something to do with it. Helen had everything to do with it. He steps into the office, closing the door. She chose him. Chose this life of lies and manipulation. I tried to warn her about what Royce really was, but she wouldn't listen. And now you're trying to warn me. I'm trying to stop him before he destroys more lives. Nathaniel moves closer, his intensity almost magnetic. The merger isn't just business. It's a hostile takeover disguised as a marriage. Helen's father's company, the jobs, everything. It'll all belong to Royce. And then he'll strip it bare. My fingers find the USB drive in my pocket, the one with copies of his evidence. Why should I believe you? Because you've seen how he operates, how he takes what he wants and discards people when he's done. His hand touches my arm, gentle but urgent. Help me stop him, Emily. We can expose everything at the wedding. Make sure everyone knows exactly who they're dealing with. The warmth of his touch sends warning signals through my brain. This feels familiar, too familiar. The same intensity, the same pull I'd felt with, the realization hits like ice water. I step back, really looking at him now. You're not just trying to stop Royce, are you? You want to hurt him, like he hurt you. Something dark flashes across his face. You don't understand. I understand perfectly. My laugh sounds hollow. God, I'm such an idiot. You're exactly like him, using people, manipulating situations. Did you plan this from the beginning? Finding me, feeding me information, playing on my pain. Emily, was any of it real? The evidence, the warnings. My voice rises despite myself. Or am I just your weapon against Royce? The elevator dings distantly. Nathaniel's expression hardens. Everything in those documents is true. How I got them, why I shared them, that doesn't change the facts. No, but it changes everything else. I move toward the door. I'm not your revenge proxy. His hand catches my wrist. You can't trust them. Helen, Royce, they're playing you too. Maybe. I pull free, but at least now I know everyone's game. I'm halfway to the elevator when I hear voices, Helen and Royce, getting closer. Panic surges as I duck into a conference room, pressing against the wall as they pass. The board won't wait, Helen's saying. If we don't move now, everything's under control. Royce's voice carries that familiar, confident edge. By this time tomorrow, Emily will have served her purpose. And Nathaniel, well, let's just say his evidence won't matter anymore. Their voices fade, but their words echo in my head. Served her purpose, won't matter anymore. The pieces click together with terrifying clarity. I'm not just caught in their games. I'm running out of time. My phone lights up with a text from Gemma. Found something. About the night Royce left you. You need to see this now. I stare at the message, my heart pounding against my ribs. Whatever truth I thought I was chasing, I'm starting to realize it's much darker than I imagined. And I'm in too deep to back out now. Gemma's apartment feels like a sanctuary after the office, but the look on her face tells me safety is an illusion. She hands me a glass of wine and opens her laptop without speaking. Remember when Royce ended things? She asks, pulling up a video file. How he said he'd fallen out of love gradually, naturally? The wine turns sour in my mouth, hard to forget. This is security footage from his office, 2 days before he left you. She hits play. The grainy video shows Royce at his desk, Helen perched on the edge. But it's Sylvia, Helen's mother, who commands the room, gesturing emphatically. Can't keep stringing her along. Sylvia's voice crackles through the speakers. Emily's sweet, but she's not right for this family, not for where we need to go. Royce leans back, that familiar calculating look on his face. The merger requires a united front, Sylvia cuts in. Helen understands business, family obligations. Emily still thinks love conquers all. She laughs, the sound like breaking glass. Besides, her mother's medical bills make her vulnerable. We can't risk. I lunge for the laptop, slamming it shut. The room spins as pieces fall into place. How Royce had insisted on helping with Mom's cancer treatments. How the hospital bills mysteriously disappeared after he left. Gemma touches my shoulder. There's more. I can't. You need to know. Those bills. They're being used to blackmail other people too. It's a pattern. Royce finds people in desperate situations, helps them, then uses it against them later. My legs give out, and I sink onto her couch. How did you get this? Jasper. She sits beside me. He's been gathering evidence for months. He wanted to tell you sooner, but, she hesitates. He was afraid of what Royce would do. To you, to your mom's memory. Hot tears spill down my cheeks. Not from sadness, but pure, incandescent rage. They hadn't just taken my relationship, my friend, my future. They'd turned my mother's death into a weapon. My phone buzzes. Helen, where are you? We need to talk. Alone. Don't, Gemma warns. After what we just saw? No. I stand, wiping my eyes. I need to hear what she has to say. Need to see her try to explain this away. Emily. I'll be careful. I grab my coat. But I'm done hiding. The drive to Helen's apartment gives me time to steel myself. By the time I knock on her door, my hands have stopped shaking. She opens it wearing yoga pants and a worried expression. Thank God. Listen, about the office. Save it. I push past her. Let's talk about my mother instead. She freezes. What? The hospital bills. The convenient timing. Tell me, Helen, was that your idea or your mother's? It's not what you think. She runs a hand through her hair. We were trying to help. By using my dying mother as leverage, my voice cracks. Was any of it real? Our friendship? Those nights you held me while I cried about losing her? Of course it was real. She grabs my arms. Everything with your mom, that wasn't supposed to happen. But Roy said we could help, make things easier. By the time I realized what he was really doing, you stayed anyway. I had no choice. Tears spilled down her cheeks. My father's company was already tangled up with Royce's. If I left, if I exposed anything, hundreds of people would lose everything, including you. What are you talking about? She pulls away, moving to a drawer. These came today. She hands me a stack of papers. Proof that your mother's bills weren't paid off. They were transferred. If anything happens to disrupt the merger, my blood runs cold as I read. Every payment, every treatment, all still hanging over my head. One signature from Royce could destroy me financially. So now you know, Helen whispers. We're both trapped. No. Something shifts inside me, grief crystallizing into purpose. We're only trapped if we play by his rules. Emily, you said hundreds of people would lose everything? I pull out my phone, scrolling to Jasper's number. What if we could prove Royce is the real threat? What if we could show everyone exactly what they're really investing in? It's too dangerous. If he finds out, he already knows we're on to him. But he doesn't know what we know. I meet her eyes. Help me, Helen. Really help me this time. Or are you still choosing him? She stares at me for a long moment, tears drying on her cheeks. Finally, she pulls out her own phone. There's a safety deposit box, she says quietly, with evidence even Royce doesn't know about. But if we do this, she looks up, fear and determination warring in her expression. There's no going back. I think of my mother, of all the people Royce has used and discarded. Good. Because this time, we're playing for keeps. The safety deposit box key feels impossibly heavy in my palm. Helen and I stand in the bank's private viewing room, staring at the metal box between us, like it might explode. Once we open this, Helen whispers, there's no taking it back. My hand shakes as I insert the key. Inside, beneath stacks of documents, lies a single USB drive. Helen's breath catches. I started collecting everything after the first merger, she explains. The way he destroyed that family's company, how he laughed about it later. She swallows hard. I told myself it was insurance. Really, I think I was trying to ease my guilt. Before I can respond, my phone buzzes. Royce. The text makes my blood freeze. Missing something. Check your email. The attachment loads slowly, revealing a hospital document. My mother's final bill, marked, payment due immediately. He's making his move, I say, showing Helen, trying to scare us off. Her phone chimes next. She goes pale, reading the message. He's at my father's office. Says if we don't bring him the drive in an hour, he'll announce the company's bankruptcy. Hundreds of people. We'll lose everything anyway if we don't stop him. I grab her arm. Helen, look at me. This is what he does. He makes us feel responsible for his choices. Tears slip down her cheeks. My father's heart condition. He can't handle this kind of stress. Then let's end it. Today. We rush to her father's office building, the USB drive burning a hole in my pocket. In the elevator, Helen's hands won't stop shaking. Wait, she says as the doors open. I should go first, try to reason with him. Something in her voice sets off warning bells. Helen, please, Emily, let me try to fix this my way first. I watch her walk down the hallway, her shoulders set with determination. Through the glass walls, I see Royce rise from behind her father's desk, his smile sharp as a blade. My phone buzzes. Gemma, where are you? Jasper just told me something huge. Do not trust. The rest is lost. As a hand clamps over my mouth, I'm dragged backward into an empty office, kicking and fighting until I hear Nathaniel's voice. Stop struggling. We don't have much time. He releases me and I spin around, ready to fight. But his face stops me. He looks terrified. Helen's been working with Royce the whole time, he says quickly. The safety deposit box, the evidence, it's all part of their plan. No. But even as I deny it, pieces click into place. Helen's convenient confession, her insistence on coming here. How do you know? He pulls out his phone, plays a recording. Helen's voice, crystal clear. Once she brings the drive, we'll have everything. All her pathetic evidence, all her copies. Royce's laugh cuts through me. And we'll finally be rid of both our problems. Nathaniel's proof and Emily's meddling. All in one neat package. The recording ends, my legs give out, and I sink into a chair, mind racing. The hospital bills. A preview of what they'll do if you don't play along. Nathaniel crouches beside me. But we can still beat them, if you trust me. Why should I? Because unlike them, I have nothing left to lose. His eyes meet mine. They took everything from me. My company, my reputation. But I've spent 3 years building a case against them. Real evidence, not the fake trail they led you to. Through the glass, I see Helen hand something to Royce, the USB drive. His smile widens as he plugs it into his laptop. What evidence? I ask Nathaniel. Proof that Royce and Helen have been working together from the start. That night at the cafe where you caught them? Staged, your mother's bills. They arranged it all, planning to use you as their scapegoat when the merger falls apart. My chest tightens. Why me? Because you're the perfect victim. Someone with just enough connection to both of them to be believable. Just enough emotional motivation to seem unstable. Through the glass, Royce's expression changes as he reads his screen. The smile vanishes. What did you do? I asked Nathaniel. Switched the drives while Helen was distracted. Right now, Royce is reading real evidence, not the fake trail they created. He stands, offering his hand. Ready to watch their world burn? I stare at his outstretched hand, thinking of my mother, of all the lives they've ruined, of how completely I fell for their act. The wedding's tomorrow, I say, taking his hand. What's our play? His smile is grim. How do you feel about giving a toast? Through the glass, Royce is frantically typing, his mask of control cracking. Helen paces behind him, their perfect plan unraveling. Tomorrow I'll stand in front of everyone they've deceived. Tomorrow I'll finally tell the truth. But first, I have a wedding toast to write. The wedding venue sparkles like a fairy tale, all white roses and crystal light. I sit at my assigned table, back corner, practically hidden behind a column, watching Helen float down the aisle in designer white. My hands shake slightly as I smooth the paper in my lap. The words of my toast burning into my palms. Gemma squeezes my arm. You don't have to do this, but I do. Because right now, Royce is standing at the altar with his practiced smile, while Helen's father beams proudly from the front row, unaware that his company's already being carved up for parts, because Sylvia's dabbing theatrical tears while wearing the necklace my mother left me, the one that disappeared during the move. The ceremony passes in a blur of hollow vows and false promises. During the reception, I watch Royce work the room, charm oozing from every pore. He's already damage controlling yesterday's evidence leak, spinning tales of corporate espionage and vindictive ex-partners. Almost time, Nathaniel murmurs, appearing beside me. Everything's in place. I nod, my throat tight. The USB drive in my clutch contains everything. Not just Royce's financial crimes, but emails proving Helen's involvement. Footage of their planning sessions, records of every life they've ruined together. The DJ announces it's time for toasts. Helen's father goes first, his voice thick with emotion, as he welcomes Royce to the family. Sylvia follows, her speech dripping with subtle digs about proper matches and social responsibilities. Then it's my turn. My heels click against the marble floor as I approach the microphone. The room falls silent. Hundreds of eyes watching as I unfold my paper. Royce's smile doesn't waver, but I see his fingers tighten around his champagne glass. Love, I begin, my voice steadier than I feel, is built on trust, on honesty, on choosing each other, even when it's hard. I meet Helen's eyes. She's gone very still. I've known Royce and Helen for years, watched their relationship bloom, Seen how perfectly they complement each other. Royce relaxes slightly. Helen doesn't. They taught me so much about love, I continue, about how it can blind you, how the people you trust most can use your faith against you, how a carefully crafted lie can destroy not just hearts, but lives. The room's atmosphere shifts. Confused murmurs ripple through the crowd. For instance, I pull out my phone. Did you know that while Helen was helping me plan my future with Royce, she was also helping him transfer my dying mother's medical bills into my name? Or that right now, as we celebrate their love, their lawyers are preparing to blame me for the coming corporate collapse. Emily, Royce's voice carries a warning. You're embarrassing yourself. Am I? I press play on my phone. His voice fills the room. Once the merger falls apart, Emily's emotional instability will make the perfect cover story. Who wouldn't believe the jealous ex snapped? Gasps echo through the hall. Helen's father stands, his face ashen. Sylvia moves toward me, but Gemma blocks her path. Security, Royce calls, but Nathaniel's already signaling to the officers by the door. They don't move. The SEC has everything, I tell him. Every document, every recording, every life you've destroyed. It's over. You don't understand what you've done, Helen hisses, grabbing my arm. Do you know how many people depend on what? Your lies? I shake her off. Ask your father if he knows about the offshore accounts. Ask him where his pension fund really went. Her father sways, clutching his chest. People rush to help him. As chaos erupts, Royce tries to slip away, but security finally moves to block the exits. You're just like us, Helen spits as officers approach, using people, manipulating situations for revenge. No, I step back, watching Royce's mask finally crack as handcuffs click around his wrists. I'm nothing like you, because I'm choosing truth, even though it hurts. The next hour blurs into statements and signatures. Helen's father is rushed to hospital, stable but shaken. Sylvia's arrested, trying to delete files from Royce's office. Throughout it all, my mother's necklace gleams at her throat, a final testament to their casual cruelty. Later, standing outside in the cool night air, Gemma hugs me tight. You did it. We did it, I correct, watching Nathaniel talk to investigators. He catches my eye, nods once. Whatever his motivations, he helped expose the truth. That's enough for now. My phone buzzes. A message from the hospital's billing department. Account cleared. The weight of years lifts from my shoulders as justice finally arrives. Not with a bang, but with a quiet ding of digital confirmation. Inside, the perfect wedding lies in ruins. But out here, under the stars, I feel something I haven't in years. Free. And that's worth more than any revenge. Dawn breaks over the city as I climb the familiar steps to my mother's favorite spot, a small garden overlooking the harbor. The morning after the wedding, and I haven't slept, can't sleep. My phone keeps lighting up with news alerts, messages, voicemails from people I haven't heard from in years. The necklace weighs heavy in my pocket. After Sylvia's arrest, an officer returned it to me with an evidence receipt. Now, sitting on the same bench where Mom used to read me stories, I hold it up to the rising sun, watching light dance through the pendant. I thought I'd find you here. I turn to see Jasper, looking as exhausted as I feel. He sits beside me, leaving careful space between us. Nathaniel's been arrested, he says quietly. My heart stops. What? The evidence he gave you. It was real. But how he got it? Jasper runs a hand through his disheveled hair. He didn't just expose Royce's crimes. He committed plenty of his own along the way. Did he know, when he helped me, that he'd go down too? Yeah. Jasper's laugh holds no humor. Said it was worth it to watch Royce fall. Guess revenge comes in many forms. The irony sits heavy in my chest. Everyone playing their own game of justice. Each of us thinking we were different, better, righteous. There's something else, Jasper continues. Something I should have told you sooner. He pulls out an envelope, aged and creased. Your mother wrote this, near the end. Asked me to give it to you when you were ready to hear the truth. My hands shake as I open it. Mom's familiar handwriting fills the page. My dearest Emily, by now, you know about Royce, about the bills, about all of it. What you don't know is that I chose this. When Royce offered to pay for my treatment in exchange for my silence about what I'd discovered at his company, I agreed. Not to save myself, but to protect you from what I knew would happen if I exposed him then. I'm sorry for the burden this placed on you, but I'm not sorry for choosing your future over my conscience. Sometimes love means making impossible choices. The truth is your weapon now, darling. Use it wisely. Use it not for revenge, but for justice. There's a difference. One leaves you empty, the other sets you free. All my love, Mom. Tears blur my vision as pieces click into place. Mom's insistence that I keep fighting after she was gone. Her strange calm when Royce offered to help. The knowing look in her eyes when Helen started coming around more often. She protected me, I whisper. Even then she was protecting me. She was buying time, Jasper says gently, making sure you'd be strong enough when the truth finally came out. The harbor breeze carries the scent of salt and new beginnings. I clasp the necklace around my neck, feeling its familiar weight, no longer a reminder of theft, but of sacrifice, of love stronger than vengeance. My phone buzzes. Gemma, Helen's father made it through surgery. He's asking to see you. Are you going to go? Jasper asks. I think of Helen in handcuffs, of Royce's mask finally cracking, of Nathaniel's Pyrrhic victory, of my mother making an impossible choice. Yes, I say, not for revenge, not even for justice anymore, but because someone needs to tell him the whole truth. Someone who remembers what it's like to have your whole world built on lies. Jasper stands, offers his hand. Want company? I take it, letting him pull me up. The sun has fully risen now, painting the city in shades of possibility. My phone buzzes again. Reporters, investigators, more people wanting pieces of the story. But standing here, in my mother's favorite place, I finally understand. The story was never about revenge. It wasn't even about justice. Not really. It was about truth. The kind that costs everything. The kind that sets you free. I slip my phone back in my pocket, unanswered. The hospital can wait a few more minutes. Right now, I want to sit with my mother's words, with the weight of her love around my neck, with the understanding that sometimes the greatest act of courage isn't in bringing others down. It's in choosing to rise above. Ready? Jasper asks. I take one last look at the harbor, at the light dancing across waves that keep moving forward, always forward, no matter what tries to hold them back. Yes, I say, I'm ready. And for the first time since this all began, I truly am.